Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Special edition of The Real tonight. We're live for the NBA draft. The first pick was just about to be, obviously we all know the first pick's going to be Cooper Flagg, so they just made the selection, but it's okay. We all knew that was coming. So welcome on into The Real. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. Like I said, we got a big, or not a big, well, I guess you've seen on the show before, coming in here in about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes. Once they get settled in and stuff. So until then, though, it'll be me and whoever joins. I got some guys coming here. I know Tune will be up here tonight. My man Humble, I see you, Humble. He said 1 minute late, Joe. Damn. I tried, Humble. I went, worked out, rode my bike. I got home on the bike, hurried up in the shower, hurried up here, and I got in the studio fast I could. Grab my water for the night, my cup of ice, keep it cold. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But welcome into The Real. Again, Cooper Flagg, no surprise, just selected first overall by the Dallas Mavericks. San Antonio's on the clock with number 2. So yeah, let's get into it. Can't wait for the guest here in a little bit. Be more centered around the injuries. Topic going around the NBA right now with the Achilles stuff. See, I ran up here so fast, I forgot to even turn on my light. How about that? There you go. Now we're rolling. But yeah, man. So I can't wait to talk about that coming up here shortly, and we'll get into that. Cooper Flagg selected. He said, "Can we see it?" No, I'm not allowed to show it live for copyright reasons. We can only react to it. Shout out to you, Wiley. Good to see you, the 330 fam. Yeah, I can't show it live, but what I can do, Wiley, while each pick's made, I can play the audio from my phone. So I'll just do it that way, but I can't show it actually because I'll get strike down. So yeah, copyright reasons we can't. Best way to do is maybe as you're watching the draft, put us on your device or whatever works for you on a separate device, and you can watch the draft and listen to us at the same time, react to it. And shout out to Wally. What's up, Wally? Good to see you, brother. Tune will be here. Oh, you're good, bro. Tune will be in here momentarily. I think he said he's making a grilled cheese for somebody. So Tune's a chef now. Yeah, but looking forward to this tonight. The Cooper Flagg draft. It's officially underway. San Antonio is on the clock. I'll be honest with you guys. I did some homework on the top 10 picks in this draft. But who's going to take who? I have no idea. I outside of Dallas taking Cooper Flagg, that's about all I can tell you. So I'm just sitting here tonight reacting with you guys. That's why I can't wait to get Tune up here. He said he'll be up here momentarily. He's still making that grilled cheese, it sounds like. So, yeah. So I know Humble said he's going to use, what did Humble say? Let me eat his barbecue right quick. Oh, bro. All right, we'll get Humble up here shortly. At 8:30, like I said, I'll have to pause my coverage of the draft because I'll have somebody up here that goes with the NBA tonight, goes along with the NBA theme. Obviously, the big topic, like I said, right now is with the injuries going on in the NBA. The ESPN put out an article today asking why these injuries happening at this risk or at the rate they're happening. So I'll be getting into that here pretty shortly with the guests once they get up here. So Cooper Flagg, though, I'll give my take on that pick real quick. I mean, Cooper Flagg, to me, I've said this before on Tune's channel, I think Cooper Flagg is the best prospect I've seen. If you go back to 2003 with LeBron, and you had Victor Wembanyama, I think Cooper Flagg, to me, is the best prospect since those two. I really do. I think he's well-rounded. There's nothing this kid can't do on a basketball court. He's got all 5 level score in terms of shooting, mid-range, layup, around the rim, dunk, shot creation, free throw. I mean, post game. This kid's got everything. I don't know. This kid doesn't really lack a whole lot. Really good defender, in my opinion, too, with a size 6'8", the size and length. I mean, if you're Dallas, you just gave up Luka Doncic, but I mean, this is a hell of a, a prize to get in return, or a hell of a rebound. To me, it's Cooper Flagg. I think Cooper Flagg, to me, can be what the NBA's been looking for in terms of that next superstar, American superstar. I think he could be that next American superstar. Um, with the Duke, like I said, big time prospect. Everybody's followed Cooper Flagg all the way through high school. Well, maybe back when he was in middle school, coming out of Maine. He's been a phenom really his whole career since he first got noticed. So you saw him last year against the Team USA guys and dominated, played really well in those games. Some of those games really dominated, took over at times, and played well against more of the better competition guys like Anthony Davis, LeBron, all those guys back on Team USA last year. And so I like Cooper Flagg a lot. I think Cooper Flagg would be a great pick, or is a great, not a, can be. I think will be a great pick, will be a franchise player. It will be the guy that I think will be maybe the face of the league one day. I think he's that good. I think he has that kind of capability. So, so the pick is in for the San Antonio Spurs. And Cooper Flagg already has his jersey picked out, his number with number 32 with the Dallas Mavericks. That's interesting. Which, I mean, they already knew as soon as they won the lottery that night. They said they were taking very similar, and that's why I say, to me, he's the best prospect I've seen. With LeBron, outside of LeBron and probably Wembanyama, in terms of hype and just pro ready, I think he's the best I've seen since then. I mean, it was similar to LeBron when the Cavs. Everybody knew the Cavs were going to take LeBron. And they already had it all set up. It was already done for weeks, months at a month at a time, or a month in advance. Has jersey selection already made, like jersey number wise, and same thing here. They already had his jersey picked out, number 32. So, yeah, they knew the night they were taking him when they won that lottery. So, let's see here, and of course the NBA. They got to do their 50 commercial breaks. Gotta love it. So the San Antonio Spurs have taken. I'll rewind it for you guys. The second pick in the NBA draft. Let's take a listen. I'm a little behind.
With the second pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper from Rutgers.
Dylan Harper, second pick in the draft, going to the San Antonio Spurs. I know Toon and I talked about him a lot. Big physical guard. I think son of Ron Harper, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, has pick and roll ability, shot maker. Big guy, can really play really good defense. A lot of size. Combo guard, really good point guard. When I watched his tape, I remember he really reminded me a lot of like a guy who can really, I don't want to say not Tyrese Halliburton, but in terms of a bigger guard who can really control the game in a way where he could score if he needs to score and attack. He's got a lot of size going downhill, can create his own shot, could shoot, but also he could be a playmaker as well. So I like this Dylan Harper pick a lot for San Antonio. They need a big guard, a star guard next to Wembanyama. So now they got their guy up front. Now they got their guy in the backcourt as well. I like the pick a lot. Now the Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock, and this has been probably where things get interesting. I think the first two picks, obviously knew Cooper Flagg was going to go number 1 overall. We knew most people probably thought Dylan Harper was going to go number 2 to the Spurs. But now number 3, this is where stuff gets interesting because remember Ace Bailey, who everybody thought was going to be consensus number 3. He was either him or the VJ guy. Ace Bailey is now, he did. I think he skipped the interview, if I'm not mistaken, the workout for the 76ers. There's been some controversy around him. So some people are ex-players are saying don't draft him. So what's gonna be interesting to see what direction the 76ers go here. And I'm waiting for my guys to get up here. I'm waiting for Toon to get up here because Toon obviously follows the draft a lot closer than I do. I cover up multiple sports, mainly more football. But I did scout a lot of these guys and know what these teams need in the top 10 at least. So once we get Toon up here too, I'll let him kind of take over for a couple minutes. And we got him up here right now. So we'll get the man up here. Toon, what's happening, brother?
What's going on, bro? You get me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Appreciate you for joining. Our Philly boys are probably palms are sweaty right now. They're on the clock. 2 left. I'll let you take it for 2 minutes. What's your reaction to the first two picks?
I mean, the first two picks is like it's like no surprise. Like we already kind of figured that was gonna be the first two picks with Cooper Flag going number one, Dylan Harper going number two. Cooper Flag was projected to be the number one pick, basically, throughout the whole season. We already seen that coming, but I think it's gonna be good for him going over there to Dallas. With all them guys, you got Kyrie re-signing with the Dallas Mavericks, got AD still over there. They're gonna be good. He's going to a good situation. He don't have to go into a situation where he's just a main guy or going to a terrible franchise. He's going to a okay situation with a great coach and Jason Kidd. I think they're gonna do something good over there, man. Because Dallas Mavericks, I think like they still gonna be like I think one of the top teams in the West. When Kyrie gets himself together, they could easily be one of the best teams in the West. Dylan Harper, that's my guy out of Jersey. His dad was a coach over here in Jersey, so yeah. I'm glad Dylan Harper, got picked by the Spurs. Another great organization. Him, Wembanyama, Darren Fox, interesting. Dylan Harper, I want to see like how that pairing gonna be. Dylan Harper is like what 6'6", so he could play possibly the two and the three. Great guard. Um, yeah, I like the first two picks, but like I said, we already knew those were gonna be the picks.
Yeah. Yeah, no surprise. Like I see, I know how I said earlier how I feel about Cooper Flag. I think he'd be a star of the league one day. I think he's the third best prospect I've seen since LeBron and Victor Wembanyama. I think he's the third right there, maybe even second, maybe ahead of Wembanyama if he really maybe has that capability. But in my opinion, some people may think that's crazy. But Philly, the pick is in here. What are you thinking with Philly here too? And I know Ace Bailey. There's a lot of controversy around him. Some people are saying don't take him because some of the stuff that happened pre-draft process. What do you think with Philly goes here?
Yeah, Philly fans are in shambles right now, bro. They are upset. They like some fans are saying, still draft Ace. Some fans don't really want VJ over there. I think VJ might be the pick, but if I'm Philly, because Ace Bailey, his agent is Shariq Cooper dad. Shout out to Shariq Cooper dad. Um, that's his agent, but I think he was given. I don't like the advice he was given. Ace Bailey is in no position to be, trying to dictate what his destination should be. I think as an organization, forget that. You still draft a player. We know the situation happened with Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley didn't want to be in Cleveland, and Kobe Altman and them still took Evan Mobley. And what happened later? He ended up signing, the deal with us. So I think you could still like take a chance and draft Ace, but Ace want to go to like the Nets or the Jazz. It seems like he want to be like,
Well, here's the
let's
pick right here. Not me
okay.
cut you
So
off. I got it right here.
I'm
2025 NBA Draft.
VJ.
Philadelphia 76ers select VJ Edgecombe.
I already knew it. See,
There you go. VJ Edgecombe.
they
Uh, there
I
you go.
see.
Good call, Tune. Uh, I'll give my quick now. When I scout this guy, Tune, he reminds me a lot of
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown when he came out. Where remember Jalen and they're statistically they were identical in college a little bit too. I mean, in terms of shooting percentage,
Mhm.
their style of game. This guy is an athletic freak. Could really, I mean, kind of like Jalen Brown. He reminds me. He can put him at the two or the three. I think once he gets a consistent jump shot, like a lot of people thought with Jalen when he came in, I think this guy could be an all-star perennial guard. What do you think about him?
I like VJ. Philly fans not really. I mean, they gonna love VJ. They rather have Ace Bailey. That's the pick they wanted. And I told them that Philly was going. Darren Moore was probably gonna do something funny, and they was gonna draft VJ because Ace already said he didn't want to be there. And
Yeah.
you don't want to take that on. But I think VJ, what is he like 6'5", 6'6"? I know he had like not the best shooting workout. They say he was nervous during his workout, but I think he's gonna be good. He could defend. He can score. I think he's gonna be good though. I don't know how this is gonna look. You know, you already got like Maxi McCain. I don't know how he's gonna fit over there. Now, my thing is, you draft VJ, right?
Hmm.
What happens with Quentin Grimes because he's due to get re-signed? Do they draft VJ and let Quentin Grimes walk, or like what's gonna go on with that? That's my question.
Um, I mean, you know more than me. I mean, I would ask though, what's their backup, like their backup guards on the bench look like?
Got McCain. McCain, he just had that injury. McCain and
Oh, yeah, the fingernail dude.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so
TikTok star. Yeah,
and he what point guard or
yeah,
shooting guard?
yeah. They all undersized. They all, I mean, not undersized. They all small guards. Point guard. Yeah.
I think those guys don't have the upside this guy has. So I think this dude, to me, I mean, you got Tyrese Maxey,
Hmm.
you got Paul George, you got Joel Embiid down low. I think again, this kid reminds me a lot of Jalen Brown a little bit, just in terms of the 2 and 3, versatility, the style of play. Uh,
Hmm.
Reminds me a lot of Jalen Brown when he came out. I'm watching the highlights right now on the screen. When Jalen came out of that school, what school? California, I think it was.
Yeah, Cal.
Yeah, Cal. I mean, it reminds me a lot of him when I watch these highlights again. So I think that kind of two, you can put him at the two like Jalen. You got Paul George at 3, which kind of like Tatum at the 3 in Boston, and then you kind of put the pieces around him. Obviously, I mean, Joel Embiid's your main piece, but and you Maxi's the main piece as well. So they already got 2 stars out there. My only big thing with them too is there's only one ball. I mean, they took a guy tonight who is going to need the ball in his hand to be effective offensively. He's not a great catch and shoot guy right now. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't. There's only one ball to go around. I feel like Philly offensively could be a little more balanced in terms of they got so many guys too that can create that need the ball in their hand to be effective. Um, I'll be like if they would have traded down and maybe took like a Trey Johnson, who I think is a great
That's another pick.
off off the ball shooter in this draft. I think that might have been a better fit for them now, but VJ has higher upside, so I don't know. But that's the one fascinating thing with them is how do they share the ball around? How does Embiid get his touches? How do they balance the shots around? And how do they get this kid enough shots where he develops and stuff? You know what I mean? And grows and gets opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
You just took him third overall, so he's going to be playing a lot.
You gotta play. You gotta play him. My question is he gonna start? Like, what is it gonna be? That's just my question with VJ. I think VJ gonna be a good player. I think he's gonna be a good player. I
Yeah, I
don't
think he
know.
will too.
I know a lot of people want Ace. Ace probably long run could be better, but it is what it is. Shout out to Philly.
Yeah. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to DFJ and all the guys over there in Philly. I'm sure they're I can't wait to see their reaction to this. Uh,
They did not want they want an ace, man. But some people want a VJ, but they really want an ace. Some people still want
hmm.
an ace. After everything that happened, they still want an ace. But some people gonna have to be on a VJ train.
Yeah, they sure will. Charlotte here too. 2 minutes left on the clock. I messaged you today. I think right now Lamelo Ball is not on the trading block as much, but
Yeah.
I think some of the reports indicate, depending on who they pick tonight, Tune, that could change. Where do you think they go here? I know they got the guard available that they could take. I can't remember his name. One of the gosh, slipped my mind. I just saw his name too on the screen. Where do you think they go here? Jeremiah Fears. Some people talk about him
Okay,
maybe
my
going
fears.
there. Where do you think they go? If they go guard here, do you think that maybe indicates a rebuild in Charlotte?
That's a good question, man. They go guard here. What you still have Lamelo Ball. I don't know who's they backup guard, but that's interesting. They could go guard. They could go draft a shooting guard maybe, but let's see. They already drafted last year. They drafted who was the guy? They drafted my guy. Who was the guy they drafted last year?
Uh,
What was his name?
I can't remember.
How
Last
did I
year.
forget his name?
Oh, I see you
I
in the
forgot.
back, Coach. I'll get you up here one second. We're at the fourth pick, so once we get past 5, that'll bring you up.
Yeah, I know they could probably draft. I know they projected to draft the guy to Duke, but I don't know.
I'll look it up in a second. Yeah, so Ace Bailey's number one prospect
Oh,
still
Brandon
available.
Miller. That's who it was.
Brandon
Brandon
Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
That's who it was. That parent. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
parent.
forward. Yeah, because he plays forward. So if they go guard here too, and really interesting that if they take Jeremiah Fears or if they go Ace Bailey, do you think they go Ace Bailey? How far do you think Ace Bailey could drop because of that stuff?
I mean, he could drop. He could probably drop to Utah could end up taking Ace. Who knows, man? I think the Hornets could end up taking Ace. That's another player, but I think he could drop all the way down to where the Nets is at. I know the Nets want him, but I don't see like I could see Utah taking him. I hope the Wizards don't get him, but I wait for him to go to Washington. I know they got a lot of they doing things different this year. They added a lot of veterans to pair with their young guys. I don't know, man. Because I think one of his destinations was Utah, the Brooklyn Nets, and it was another team. Could have been the Wizards, but wherever the team is, he wanted to be like I guess one of the main guys there. But Charlotte's interesting. They could go guard here, or they could surprise us and go to Ace Bailey. Um, Ace Bailey's forward. They already got Brandon Miller. They still have Miles Bridges over there too. So they have that
This
guy.
is another pick too, and I think if you're drafting off a fit, if you're keeping LaMelo Ball, you got Brandon Miller. I
Yeah.
would go trade Johnson because I think he doesn't need the ball in his hand to be effective. You know what I mean? He can play off the
Hmm.
ball. I think he's one of the better spot shooters I've seen in a while. You watch his footwork when he runs off screens and sets his feet. I like that kid a lot out of Texas.
So you think they go Trey Johnson?
If they keep LaMelo, I'm going Trey Johnson because I think he's the best fit for what they have. Because you need somebody that doesn't need the ball in his hand to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the pick right here. Let's see the commissioner. Let's see what he says.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, back to you. With the fourth pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Con Knipple,
Yeah.
Duke
Okay.
University.
The guy to do.
Okay, what do you think of that tune? I don't know much about him. I didn't expect that there. What do you think of Con Knipple?
Well, they said that he was projected to go to the Hornets, man. He's a shooting guard. So by drafting him, I guess they still keeping Lamelo Ball. I guess I would
I guess,
assume
but he's not a point guard,
he's
so
like
he's more.
6.
Yeah, six
Yeah,
six.
yeah, he's
Looks like
not
a
a
guy
point
who can
guard.
shoot. So that's a guy. Yeah. What do you think of him? Do you think should be? I mean, he's 2025 ACC tournament MVP. Kid's obviously got a lot of game. I mean, what do you think of him going fourth overall ahead of Ace Bailey?
I mean, if we going by what the projected is, yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess it fit. I think he'd be better than Ace. I don't know, but I think, like I said, Ace going to drop down. I mean, a lot of teams probably, turned off about, what happened with Ace, and I expect like maybe Utah or a team like the Nets to get Ace Bailey. We gonna see, but right here it says here the dude
Elite
Connors
shooter. Yeah.
right. So that fit in. We were just
It
talking. We
fits
were just
perfectly.
saying
Yeah.
that.
That's all they need. I like Trey Johnson, but this kid's pretty good too. I mean, I'm sure they're probably neck and neck in a lot of ways. So yeah, that signals to me they're definitely keeping LaMelo too, because I think if you were going to trade him, you would have took more of a creator, more, you know what I mean, somebody
Hmm.
playmaking, creation, shot creation. This guy, he's going to plug and player next to the Miller and Ball just fine. So
Yeah,
I don't
just
see
continue
LaMelo
to
going
jack up some
anywhere now.
shots.
Yeah, I don't see Yeah, he doesn't need the ball in his hands to be great. Plus, he played alongside a great player at Duke last year, so he's already familiar with that.
Yeah, Duke gonna have a lot of they're gonna have a lot of guys go in this first round. The big man should be going too. They big man. They're gonna have
Amari
a lot of
Williams, my
players.
guy.
No, not no.
What do you think of the
Duke.
guy too? They got that other shooter dude. I can't, his last name starts with a B. They're talking about the Cats possibly taking him.
Who you talking about? Who you talking about?
Gosh, what was his name? I just saw
Dang.
it today. Somebody, Mikey McNuggets on. He said today that was his top
Okay.
choice for the Cavs. Great. He's an elite shooter. I think
Let me shoot it. He
Burn
got
maybe.
size to him.
I don't. Do you have the roster pulled up? Are you able to do that?
Uh,
Or I'll do it real quick. I
let
got
me
you.
see.
We got one more pick, folks, and then we'll get to our next segment with our guest. I'm looking forward to that. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, go subscribe to Tune In Sports as well. He'll be reacting to all this on his channel as well. He's killing it right now out there in Jersey. So let me pull it up here because we are waiting for the pick. What do you think? As I'm looking up to, where do you think Utah goes here? You think they pull the trigger on Ace?
I'm trying to remember. I think that was one of his destinations. They could possibly take Ace. I don't know if they're gonna. And you still got to look out if any of these teams in the top 10 is gonna end up trading a pick. They have to go try to acquire somebody, right? Because I know teams have been saying they trying to offer up some draft picks to acquire certain guys that's in trade rumors right now. So it's gonna be interesting. They can either trade the pick or they could possibly take a guy like Ace Bailey. Surprisingly, take Ace Bailey.
Oh, I think it's this Tyrese Proctor kid, 6'6" guard.
That's what they took. That's what they. That's what
No,
they
that's
took.
who the people are wondering the Cavs could take.
Oh, okay. I don't think I scouted him.
Yeah, I believe it's him because the guy shot 40%. Yeah, it's him. It's Tyrese Proctor. Talking about maybe the Cavs taking.
How tall is he?
Um, 6'6".
6'6". Okay, yeah, it's not bad. It's,
Not bad.
it's
Man,
not
I would
bad.
still go the big if I was them. I think if you're gonna get a big, the bigs in the free agency team leave one over don't look that great. I think if you're gonna get a big, why not get one in the draft? But that's just me. What do you think? Do you think there's any chance the Cavs trade in tonight?
I mean, I would look like I said, man. I expect the unexpected. I don't think so. I'm gonna say no, but I always expect the unexpected. I say that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, because I know Windhorse. Some of the reports today were, or really leading up to last week, that he thinks the Cavs could trade both those picks. They're not gonna make both of them. That they could use those to move up. So
Mm.
and unless it's somebody they really like, which I mean they're kind of in a position where they could do that. I mean here you just saw the Indiana Pacers. They're still in the second round, but I think they moved up in the early second round before the draft tonight. They made a trade because they need that higher selection because, like he said, they're gonna be losing some depth on the roster. So. Uh, could that be something the Cavs do? I think we're in this new apron era too. Like you and I have been talking about these teams that are competing and dealing with that second apron. They have to build out their depth through the draft now. And these second round picks, even obviously late first, early second round picks now, they really mean something.
Yeah, they got it's all. You should try to build. You should try to build with the CBA and everything. We always, Kobe talking about eternal growth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also think you also need them players that can impact. If the player can impact year one, right now, then yeah, go for it. But I think with the Cavs, they should just end up taking a big man. I agree with you, bro. Like I think we need to help out Mobley and Allen if he's still here.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what we
Uh,
need bad.
Real quick, what's it? I think the commissioner should come out here in a second. Any reports that stood out to you? I got something I'm going to play later on from Windhorse, but we'll react to when Mike gets up here and all them. But anything today that stood out to you regarding the Cavs?
Um, Not really, except for I know the Jared Dudley news. I know that by reports he's supposed to be. It's no report that's out there really, but it's other reports that say he's supposed to be joining the Cavaliers. I know they said that he's supposed to be finishing out his contract, and then he's going to sign with the Cavaliers. I guess by the end of this week. That's what I'm looking forward to see how true that is. But they say he got to finish out his contract, and then he's potentially joining the Cavaliers.
Here we go, right here.
Here's Commissioner Silver. With the fifth pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Arius Ace Bailey.
Hey,
Ace Bailey
hey,
goes.
hey.
There he goes. Tune.
It
Obviously, we
is.
know the off the court stuff. We'll get into that in a second. But the pick itself, I'll let you take it. What do you think of Ace Bailey, the player?
I think Ace Bailey,
From
Jersey,
your town, from your
Ruckus.
side of the Rutgers.
Yeah, Ruckus, man. Shout out to Ruckus, man. Ace
From your
Bailey and Dale Harbor. I mean, they obviously didn't, make it far. They wasn't part of the tournament, but those obviously he's going high because of his talent. He's a great player. Um, I don't know. I think Ace. I don't know how he's gonna be in year one. I look at Ace probably like he has some raw side to him. I look at him as a project.
he reminds me a lot of Brandon Ingram. when he came
Brandon
out
Ingram.
because that his long size, thin
Yeah,
frame, probably needs to put a little weight on, but has that kind of style of game too. Can really create a shot, shoot. He reminds me a lot of Brandon Ingram.
yeah. He got the size. He definitely can create shots. He's long.
Yeah,
You know, definitely. A shot creator. Capable. He's capable, and on the defense end, he's okay too, man. Um, but like I said, he might be. I don't know how he's gonna be in year one. Um, but he's with the Jazz. Over there. I guess what did this pick say about them drafting Ace Bailey? Are they trying to compete? No, not compete, but trying to make the playoffs this year. They still have Laurie Markkinen over there. John Collins just took his option.
my man Walker Kessler.
Yeah, Walt Kessler's over there.
Damn it! I don't think we're getting him. Yeah, it sounds like I know Windhorse said this, and maybe somebody else said this like a month ago. They think the Jazz are actually trying to compete, which I get it. Here, team, like I think that's why Portland made that trade for Drew Holiday still with the reports because they want to try to make playoffs, get that revenue next year. I mean, these franchise, the owners, they got to make the playoffs every now and then. They get the revenue, so they can't be
Yeah,
sitting stale forever. But
gotta make that money up.
yeah, so that we're gonna take a pause here on the draft. Tune's gonna keep an eye on it, and Tune, if you want to stay up here for this, or do you want to go keep an eye on the draft? You're more than welcome.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I
Uh,
got you.
so I got a special guest now. It's still NBA related, folks. Obviously, there was an article put out today on ESPN, and a lot of people have been talking about this. Um, why all the Achilles injuries in the NBA this season? And in the article, it was written by Maria Lawson. Talks about Achilles tendon right there. Achilles tendon injuries have become all too familiar headline professional sports. And this NBA season saw more than usual, and it lists players there like Damian Lillard tore his Achilles, Jason Tatum, who we all saw in that playoff series. Fortunately, we just saw Tyrese Halliburton, James Wiseman, Isaiah Jackson, DeJounte Murray, Drew Smith. We saw Deshaun Watson in the NFL side of things as well. And this article lists from a doctor. I'll put it full screen here and get a reaction to it from our coach joining us. Medical experts attribute these injuries to overuse and accidental circumstances, and they had a bunch of medical experts on and people who specialize in these injuries in the article, and they talked about, see their quote, at this point we need to start thinking about the calf and Achilles in the same way. Do we have enough strength to be able to tolerate the sport that we're doing? The lower leg is lagging behind in some other things that we do. One thing that stood out to me in this article, they talk about prevention, right? So right here, they're talking about why there's so many injuries, and it says, uh, you need to look at the amount of load on the athletes put on their body and recovery and all that stuff. But right here, how can these athletes prevent these injuries? And this a medical expert says stretching, especially hamstrings and calves. Well, I got the expert of stretching joining us now, the man who taught me how to stretch properly, and I still use the band every single day and used it before I hopped on this live. Kind of reason why I was late. I had to make sure I stretch after I worked out. Coach Legrair's back joining us. Coach, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Good to see you. I
Um,
appreciate you taking the time to come on and get you a round of applause here.
just ran in from about 4 sessions today. A little warm out there.
Yeah, it was a little warm this week. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. I sent you this article earlier. I don't know if you had time to really scan through it, but I actually showed some of it there and what medical experts said. I guess we'll start here, Coach. This has been a hot topic on the internet. Once NBA players, former players have really spoken on this, these Achilles injuries and why they're happening. I'm just curious. We saw Halliburton, unfortunately, Sunday night. Already had surgery, probably going to be out all of next season. What's your thoughts as somebody you've trained many pro athletes? Obviously trained Butch Reynolds, and you still work with athletes now at all levels, and you're very familiar with all this. And what's your thoughts on this topic?
Well, they hit the nail on the head a little bit there with overuse. I mean, NBA players, a lot of games. They're playing a lot of games, which means they're having a lot of practice. I think fundamentally, a lot of athletes just sort of skip some of the prep. They skip some of the things they may have done when they might have been in high school. Flexibility is one of the athletic fails. You get flexibility, bad biomechanics or how you move, hydration, and strength. Those are things that make an athlete fail. If you're not flexible, you cannot do half the things that required for any level, high school, college, pro, whatever it is. So flexibility is really, really critical. There is a series of band stretches that don't take a lot of time, but you have to make time. When I was a little kid playing baseball in the projects, I heard an old coach tell one of the players, "You keep doing that wrong. Why is it that you always have enough time to do it over, but never enough time to do it right?" So I think if these guys and women, particularly on the female side, they're 10 times more likely to tear something or hurt something. But they just spend a little more time, a little more prep, postseason, preseason, and even during the season. Get a little bit more flexibility work in, get a little bit more balance work in, and hydration. I mean, you have to hydrate, so you got to be ready to play. So I just absolutely believe that flexibility and prep training would be critical to getting rid of some of these things. I think this season, I think I read there may have been 8 players in the NBA that
Yeah,
have torn up something.
right there. So Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, James Wiseman, Isaiah Jackson, DeJounte Murray, and Drew Smith. So 1, 2, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, about 7, 8.
Yeah. So and probably there's only 1 or 2 of them under 25 years old. So as we age, it just can't do some of the stuff you did when you're 28. That doesn't sound like that's too old. When you're 29, when you're 30, being that age and playing a pro sport, that's hard. It's hard. So it takes a lot more. Jerry Rice did a wonderful thing years and years ago about all of the things that he had to do and all the things he went through to stay prepped and ready. And these few other players that went through some of the things that kept them going. By the way, tell Windhurst, the best announcer in Ohio when he was back at the Beacon.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I will.
But it's just it's not that hard, but it's sort of like I talked to some folks a couple of weeks ago. Like it's sort of like 1 + 1 is 2. But if I ask someone that, they'll think it's a trick because I'm asking them how much is 1 + 1. And prepping for sport or prepping to play is similar. I mean, it's not that hard. It takes time. You have to make time to do a bunch of little things that add up to big things. So you get a little injured, you miss a couple weeks, okay. Or you keep playing and playing and playing and going through it and miss a couple months. It's harder to come back as they age. So, age is a factor. I don't know the ages of all these 7 or 8 players, but I'm going to guess that not many of them were under 25. I know there were some in the 30s.
Yeah. What's your thoughts in this article? As soon as this happened that night, I texted you because, and they mentioned it. Remember when Kevin Durant ruptured his Achilles? He had a calf strain. Obviously, these guys, they're in the biggest moments in their lives. They're going to risk it and go out there and play. It's obviously he knew the risk probably before he went out there. I'm sure they told him that was probably the risk. What is that there? I mean, a lot of people are wondering the difference between the calf strains. I mean, if you're somebody with an athlete out there, let's say at any level, high school on up probably, or middle school on up, and you have that calf soreness, tendonitis, how if you're a parent, a coach, a trainer, how should you properly approach that when you don't get to this point?
Well, first, you have to go and get it checked. I mean, the biggest thing I have, 8 years old to 80. Oh, my hips hurting, my side hurting, my legs hurting, my calves hurting. Yeah. I'm tough. I can play through it. Okay. Well, at some point, I have a 48 to 72 hour rule with any athlete that I'm dealing with. If you tell me my calf has been hurting and it's hurting the next day and it's hurting that third day, it's time for medical intervention. I recommend getting it checked out, not to say I'm tough, I chew nails and spit it in the wood. I can play through this. You need to get it checked. If you don't want to do what the physician recommends, then don't do it. But at least 30, 40 days later, when something significant happens, where it's season ending or career ending, you knew what it was because you did the right thing and went and got it checked out. And then some parents tell me, well, my medical plan doesn't cover going to do this, doing that. But, if your medical plan covers a medical doctor, let a medical doctor look at it. Some medical doctors that I've met and talked to have a little bit of sports knowledge as well.
Mhm.
But I say go to a sports medicine person and just get it checked out. It could be nothing, but it could also lead to I'm done for a year, particularly as you start to age. I'm telling you, again, I don't know the ages of these guys that got hurt, but I'm going to guess that not many of them were 20 or 21. Our
Yeah.
muscles do different things as we start to age. Atrophy sets in, things happen. So it takes more work, it takes more preparation. But like I told you before, I sent the Browns email a couple, maybe about 10 years ago now, a couple times.
Mhm.
Hey, let me come up there and do some stuff with some athletes, particularly your skill guys that always seem to be pedaling a bicycle during preseason stuff.
We'll be seeing it here in a couple weeks when training
Yeah,
camp starts.
yeah, they'll be on the bike.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem, like I say, it's so easy that maybe it's hard. It's easy to spend
Yeah.
those 11 minutes before you get on the court or before you get on the field, and 11 minutes after. Not many pro athletes tell me they cool down. Some tell me they rarely warm up.
Yeah, you see a lot of guys. Yeah, now they don't really warm up. They don't really cool down. I never coach in my time being around high school teams, especially because that's the level I'm usually around a lot. I don't see a lot of teams properly warming up before they go in the weight room or working out. I don't see the coaches pushing stretching after practice. Everybody tells them about stretching before practice. What about after practice? I mean, that's part of recovery. I mean, every session I went to with you, we always stretched at the end. Warmed up properly in the beginning. We just always stretch at the end because it helps your body recover and stay loose and flexible. And, you're putting a lot of wear and tear on your body in those workouts and practices and sessions. I just don't see it. Is it how much is it just these teams are not really promoting it either? Is it the people they're hiring and they're like, especially professionally? Because you and I actually were somewhere this weekend where a pro athlete you asked them, hey, you been using that band? Nah, not in a while. Like, and it's easy for these guys. They do so much. They travel. They're so busy. They got so much to do. They got personal life. It's got to be promoted to them. I think as a reminder, that's on your training staff a little bit to like kind of promote that. It's like when you go to high schools, they got the hydration thing up there. Drink chocolate milk. Drink water. What do you think of that? How much do you think these organizations and at any level, high school and any level, they're just not promoting? Is it the people they're hiring? What is it?
I don't know. I would love to be a fly on the wall at about 15 practices before and after, but I'm relatively sure there's not a lot of prep. I mean, prep for me is we're doing dynamic warm up. It could take 15 to 25 minutes. Now the body is a little bit heated and ready to go. We're going to hydrate. It's a water, sport beverage. And then when it's done, like you said, the low fat chocolate, low fat strawberry milk. Hydration is critical to some of these injuries. But I don't know who they're hiring or who they're pulling in or what they're doing or what their protocols are. Love to do 10, 15 days at the Browns practice or 10, 15 days at the Guardians or the Cavaliers, just sitting there. I'm just a little bump on the log. I'm just observing.
That's another thing I never got. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but I just think it's a lot of simple stuff that I just don't think they're making the time to do.
Yeah, I remember when I played high school football for the short period for a lot of stuff happened in my life. I was the only player that brought Gatorade to practice. And we had remember the old little water things where you squirt the little bit. And that's all they had. And I'm like, we'd be out there all day from 8 a.m. to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like 3 days basically back then. You can't do that now. But I was the only person, coach, that brought Gatorade. And not saying names, but that team had a lot of, they were short and depth wise. It was a smaller school, but that team had a lot of injuries come beginning of the season. A lot.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. I never seen anything like it, but I was sitting there looking around like, hey, man, we ain't got no Gatorade, no nothing. Like, how do you not have electrolytes on the sideline during the games? And I remember in Pee Wee, we started incorporating Gatorade into our games and stuff, and it helped our performance. We felt it. It's just incredible. Some of these high schools, how they're just way behind still in a lot of this stuff, or just don't really care.
Absolutely, and that's a critical piece. Hydration is, like I said earlier, the athletic fails. Hydration, flexibility, biomechanics, strength. And when I say strength, I kind of hesitate saying strength because I was speaking to a group, and when I mentioned strength, and I said, how many people are thinking Arnold Schwarzenegger? And everybody's like, oh yeah, you got to be huge, dude. No, you got to be agile, fragile, and mobile. So it's just a different thing now than it was 35, 45 years ago. I really, 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 really wish that teams particularly would spend more time in preparation instead of saying, I don't have time.
How
We don't
long
have
do you
time
think
for
that preparation period should be from, let's say, NBA, for instance? They just ended their seasons, right? So now they're going to take some time off. Guys are going to go on vacation. They usually ramp back up late August, September. What does that preparation look like in your eyes? What should that look like?
Well, definitely need to take some time off and recover.
Right.
Body's been beat up. They play a lot of games, and again, which means they do a lot of practicing. So
Mhm.
the getting it off your body is great, man. Just chill. Go sit in the pool, go swim, go do commercials for cell phones.
Yeah.
So just chill out. Just take it easy for about 30 some days. Just let it chill out. You go back in there, we're not going back in playing 4 quarters full tilt. We're going back in there with medicine balls, bands, Bosu balls, little tiny strength things. Then we're building up to pushing a building or pushing over a truck. So it's the little muscle groups to the big muscle groups. But believe me when I tell you, that 6 to 10 weeks, a couple times a week of doing something dynamic movements, flexibility, balance. Again, I told a parent last week, I don't know, maybe this is way more difficult than I think. And it's sometimes, if you go to a physics class in college that they made me take for some reason, the physics professor knows how to explain all of this stuff to you.
Mhm.
But can they explain it to you so you understand it? That's the hard part.
Right.
So I think just going back to basics, like we were talking about the event we attended. Hey, go back to basics.
Right.
If your hamstrings are hurting, your hips are hurting, you've already had the medical intervention piece. They can see what's going on. Go back to basics. Go back to fundamental strength, fundamental balance, fundamental agility, fundamental flexibility. At that point, now we can start building into something. It's like building a house. You
Yeah.
do the basement if you're in Ohio, then the next floor, then the next floor, and ultimately you get to the attic. But it takes time, and you
Mhm.
just got to make the time to make these things work.
I've always wanted to ask you this about the weight room. Obviously, the weight room's a big implement in all sports, especially football, obviously, and then basketball. These guys constantly in the weight room as well. What do you tell your athletes, especially professionally, that or college, especially that are constantly in the weight room? How do you balance between, let's say you're a basketball player, you're going to go train with your trainer, go work on your game, maybe go play 5-on-5 pickup all summer, whenever you start ramping back up again. The stuff you just mentioned, they should be doing about prep work. And obviously, teams are going to put them. A lot of times, these teams they put them on these workout plans in the weight room and stuff like that. How do you balance all that out as an athlete to where you're not overuse even before the season starts?
Well, that's a critical piece and a critical point. 8 years old till about 20 is strictly overuse. There's rarely an athlete that I've run into that may not be playing 2, 3, or 4 sports in one season. Now, that sounds crazy if you think about it. So you got a track and field athlete that's playing football or doing a lot of
Right.
football stuff. Track and field athlete that's doing track season is playing basketball or doing a lot of basketball stuff.
Or even
Track and field athlete,
these one sport athletes, they're still going to camps and playing in AAU and
yes,
tournaments all year. Like football
yes,
guys, they're constantly going to tournaments now or
yep, yep.
camps. So go ahead.
So
I'm
they have
sorry.
a significant amount of overuse. And a lot of the little injuries, this particularly the non-contact kinds of stuff, like that article was talking about, it's overuse. You're using it too much. A lot of younger people think they've got a big red S carved on their chest, and their parents take them to 19 different events a week. And they're like, well, they want to play. Well, they don't drive. And they're tired. I call it R sickness. You get a kid that's doing all of this stuff, you put them in the car, you put the car in R, they're asleep.
Yeah.
They're done. They can't even carry their own bag.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just too much. It sounds like the right thing to do to
Yeah.
keep going and going and going, like you're an Energizer buddy or something. But the insider training secret is recovery. I beat you up twice a week for 8 weeks, and then I give you a few days off to rest. It's not an accident that there are built-in recovery days in the NFL and the
Yeah.
NBA.
Right.
and Major League Baseball.
Which was
Even
also
hockey.
mentioned in that article right here. I'll let you talk. Go ahead. I'll pull it up. Yeah, I think it was. I said right here. I think it's more rest days. He mentioned in one of these. Yeah, right here. Stretching was obviously one of them, but then also more rest as well.
Yeah, recovery is critical. And then again, that hydration piece cannot be overlooked. Most people think about the hydration piece when it's like yesterday. I was outside. It was 98. The real feel, the part that most people forget about, the heat index, made it feel like 107. You can participate and do some things outside when it's 107. You just have to stop more. And I told all the athletes that I was going to be working with 2 days ago, hey, the temperature is going to be 100. We're not going to be on any turf, but we will be on a track, and it's a little warmer than the air temperature as well. But the key part is the real feel, what it feels like on your skin when you add in that humidity. So I tell them 2 days before that, hey, it's going to be bad. We got to make sure you're hydrating. You get those 3 bottles of water in you, get a sport beverage, get a hold of some milk if you're not lactose intolerant. You got to be ready 2 to 3 days for this hydration thing to kick in. So I did like 4 times yesterday. And
how often? How do you? Yeah, I was gonna. How often are you doing that? Like minute wise, or and I like all year long. Let's say you're playing a basketball game, middle. I mean, how often should you be drinking fluids throughout a game or practice or training session?
It'll vary by athlete, but for me, like when it's this hot outside, we stop about every 6 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
And we don't necessarily have to stop and drink every 6 to 8 minutes, but we just have to stop and let the body cool down.
Yeah.
We gotta, let's let little recovery time come in there, and then we're gonna hydrate. I tell the athletes, you gotta sip. You get some water, you sip. If you stop and do something, and I see this when I'm announcing basketball games often, timeout. Guy goes to the sideline, takes a water bottle. He's about 2 minutes from passing out. I mean, you shouldn't have to drink that much in an 8-minute quarter, and you just played 3 minutes and it's a timeout. That just tells me the kid did not hydrate yesterday. He didn't hydrate the day before, and now his body is like, you put it in me or I'm going to stop. So, you got to stay on some of that stuff. I tell some of the pro athlete guys, man, I know they're probably thinking, we're giving you $90 million a week. Get your own water. Take care of your own body. But I'm sure they got trainers and that stuff in there too, making a couple million a year that should be paying attention to some of this stuff. I read an article a few years ago, USA men's soccer use heart monitors and beeper things on their bodies and their shoes. And some guys over there like, oh, you're at your target heart rate, you're done. You're at your target heart rate, you're done. So science is still entered into this thing and makes it a little easier. We just got to stop. We just got to make the time to prep. And I think a lot of these little non-contact injuries go away. Collision sport, I think basketball is a collision sport. You're going to run into stuff.
It's I was going to ask too, what about a lot of the cutting in basketball too? Like, I mean, because these guys are tall, lengthy, not the most coordinated guys at times because how tall and lengthy they are. Like some guys we've seen drafted tonight.
Yeah.
If you were working with a kid like that, right? And let's say like a Jason Tatum who's 6'9", 6'10", tall, lengthy, very long, maybe not the best coordinated, not terribly coordinated, but not the best. Not like we see when you see like a Paris Campbell running.
Yeah.
Who you've trained. So how would you work with a kid like that or a guy like that where it's like, how do we work in your just proper movements when you're handling a ball? And so we don't have those kind of, because a lot of guys you see when they cut, like Halliburton, as soon as he planted that right foot and was going, which is his game.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Yeah. Again, it's for just about every sport and every athlete, it's fundamentals first. We got to break off into these fundamentals. That's why I evaluate an athlete before we do any type of training. I want to see where you are. What are you doing now? Let's get some video on you, take a look at it, see what your hips are doing, your knees are doing, your feet are doing. So we got to go to the basics. Again, it sounds crazy, but it's so true. You get a 6'9" guy, he's going to have some flexibility issues because he's 6'9".
Yeah.
So we got to spend a considerable amount of time other than a dynamic warm-up. He's got to do some homework. He's got to go home and do stuff. And I don't think there's many collegiate or NBA or professional sports athletes that doesn't do some homework they're doing some stuff that we don't see. I saw a video decades ago of Michael Jordan running the stadium stairs at the stadium. Allegedly ran them so many times and did jumps up those stairs that he wore out that little safety strip that keeps you from falling on the edge of the step. So we don't see that. You know, we don't see LeBron James shooting blindfold layups. We don't see LeBron James bouncing on a Bosu ball or pulling on a 195-pound band. So what we don't see makes a huge difference. I mean, I'm glad to do something with you for an hour, but I'm only seeing you for an hour. So now you got to take this stuff home. I call it take with training. You can take this stuff home and help yourself get better. I said, if I ever do get with David Morgan and write a book, it's going to be something in there saying, I can take you to the water of athletic development, but I cannot make you cup your hand, bend down, and take a drink. You got to have want to. So to that end, it might be hard to stop doing stuff to prep. You know, I got to use this stretch band. I got to use an ankle band. I got to make sure I'm sipping on water all day. I got to have a sport beverage for all those electrolytes that I'm sweating out. And I got to recover. But as you said, you witnessed, there's not a lot of teams.
No.
A lot of my friends still coach football, a couple basketball and baseball friends that coach. They don't cool down. All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're out.
And the schools that I see, Coach, I mean, a lot of people always say, well, they got all this talent and this and that. The schools I see that succeed the most, Coach, they just had the better training.
Oh, like,
yeah. You know, one school, you know, I'm talking about, I see all the time.
Yeah.
They're pretty well advanced in a lot of the beautiful facility. And, you know, I've heard a lot of stuff they do training wise, especially the old strength coach they had. You know, they were pretty well prepared for a lot of the, you know, proper stuff, hydration, had muscle milks in the fridge and stuff for after practice, pushing that, you know what I mean? And like the schools that don't, maybe they don't have the funding, but they just don't push it. They usually don't pan out well, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, science has done this stuff for over 20 years. That science has said, we need to do this for our bodies. We need to do that for our bodies. But we got to recover and we got to prep. We got to start. We got to warm up. We got to cool down. And
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I know we got to warm up. We got to cool down. But a lot of people will tell me they just don't have time. Again, when I was 10 years old playing shortstop in baseball and hearing a coach say, you don't have time, never enough time to do it right, but always enough time to do it over. So let's do it right the first time.
So before we my last question for you, or I'll let my guy here too, and I think he's got a question for you.
Okay.
So when you're working with a basketball player, like I said, so you're giving them individualized homework to help them with the movements for when they're out there cutting, planting that foot, crossovers, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you almost have like an individualized plan you give them for their type of body frame and their movements after you evaluate them, right? So that's kind of what that homework is.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to do it while we're there.
Flexibility and
tendons and ligaments in the ankle need attention.
Yeah.
You know, when you get older again, man, that is just more subject to a longer time out from an injury that if you were 16, 3-4 months. You're 29, 30, 32, 36, 2 years. You know, and when you come back, you gotta feel like, is this thing ready? Yeah, it's been 1.5 years, 2 years. Is this thing ready? But, you know, injuries happen. Stuff happens. You know, again, you're talking about collision stuff and contact stuff. That stuff's going to happen, but you just want to prevent as best you can the non-contact stuff. You know, like, again, girls are way more susceptible to a non-contact season-ending injury or career-ending injury from non-contact. Some of those, especially the sports medicine folks, say you can prevent some of that stuff, but you got to work it. I mean, it takes time.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, too? Basketball players in particular, because that's obviously the article, they mentioned about strengthening the leg, right? Strengthening those muscles, strengthening, you know, I'm somebody who rides a bike a lot all year long. You know, I see that helps my legs stay strong and up to beat and stretching, obviously. You know, a lot of these basketball players, Coach, a lot of it's just the way they're built. They're more lengthier guys, but their legs a lot of times are very, very frail. And, you know, I know they do a lot of lunges, but I know that's one exercise you and I've always talked about that's done incorrectly everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've heard some NBA players say, "Man, we trained a lot more back in the day. Like our legs were stronger and stuff." John Stockton looked like a little guy on TV, but guys that played against him, they said his legs were huge. His calves. I mean, he was strong for he was for his position. And I don't think he ever really got hurt a lot either. These injuries weren't that common back then. How much is that in terms of? What do you think the shift's been? Because I could see a lot of these teams doing incorrect lunges when they do these lunges. I know they do a lot of things with the weights and they lunge at the same time. And I mean, what do you think it is strength wise with these NBA players that could be going wrong?
I think they're doing a lot of stuff that they don't need to do. Just from again, not sitting in there for 10 times, 10 practices and 10 things. But the weight room is kind of a placebo, and it fools a lot of people. Like as soon as I say strength, if I'm talking to a group, they immediately go Charles Atlas, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Got to go squat 500 pounds.
Yes. You play football, you got to be able to push a building over, or you're not going to play in college, which ain't true. But so the weight room can be very, very good, but we just can't overuse that. Again, agile, fragile, mobile, and high school. I don't even think anybody does that 125 bench press at the combines anymore. They throw a 6.5 or 7 pound medicine ball from their knees. That's the replacement for most college combines. They don't mess around with weights anymore. Can you move? Can you stop? Can you jump? Can you land? You got all of those events that require movement and agility and balance and speed. 5-10-5. L drill, 40-yard dash, which they're actually timing the 10, 20, and 30. Not a whole lot of 40-yard plays in football, but if you turn your volume up and watch NFL Combine, running backs, receivers, turn the volume up, you'll hear beep, beep, beep. They're timing quickness, 10, 20, 30. How quick, how fast. So, those kind of things, but just a little bit more prep, just a little bit more time to prepare. Huge difference, in my opinion. A huge difference, and being able to be a little bit more injury free. But it's a sport, it's a collision. Stuff's going to happen when you come in contact.
If last one I got for you, and Tune, if you're there, I'll hand it off to you if you got a question for him. If you were a team trainer or a team, whatever, for high school, college, pro, how many times a week should your team be in the weight room doing weight room sessions?
That'll depend.
Either training camp or during the season. Like, what should that look like? Because I think that might be a lot of it too.
It's athlete specific and sports specific. I would say what would be necessary. Again, we don't want to bulk up. You don't see many NFL players bulking up. If you did a pickup football game and Tom Brady and a couple other guys were standing out there on the field in the park in your neighborhood, and you're doing a pickup football game, you wouldn't pick Tom Brady if you didn't know who he was. Look at this skinny dude. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Flasco, man, what is this dude doing? What is he bringing water to us?
Yeah.
You wouldn't pick these guys. But what they have accomplished and what they've done is their preparation to play the game that they play. Baseball players do different things in the weight room than football players. A first baseman does different things than a pitcher. A running back should be doing different things than a 390-pound lineman. So that's why I say it's athlete specific, but you just need to prep. We need to prepare for going to battle, man. You got to put some armor on your body. And I think it's kind of simple, but it might be too hard. It's like asking you a trick question. How much is 1 + 1? You'll think about it and look up at the ceiling and go, this is a trick. So I think when it comes to athletes, preparation is kind of like that. It's got to be a trick to this. But we just got to prep. And I think teams should prep more. I think youth should prep more. And don't talk about lunges, because today I saw some kids out. I had to turn my back. I'm like, I don't want to see this, man. I don't want to see this. But little things like that go a long way. When you're more flexible, more powerful, you're hydrated, it just makes playing the game easier.
Yeah. Tune In Sports, you still there, brother? We got Tune?
I put him to sleep.
Yeah. Tune, you there? I think his mic's off. Maybe he'll come out and come back in. Let's see. I'll give him 1 second, Coach. I think he might come back in. I think he had a question for you, so I'll make sure he gets the question off. But I do want to ask you, though, about lunges in particular real quick before we let him get back up here. What is one of the more fundamental fundamental movements that are incorrect you see in lunges? Because that seems to be a big one. And I hear you talk about it all the time. I see it all the time. What's incorrect about that? Do you see a lot?
I see a lot of, particularly young kids, their knees going way out past their toes. So you're putting the ACL and MCL, your hip flexors, hamstrings, quads, shins, all in a crazy position. Sports medicine and rehab, when a kid get hurt, they go to rehab and they do stuff the right way. They're forced to get that knee back over the ankle. It's a phenomenal exercise. It's a very powerful exercise. When I'm training, we may do 200 an hour. We'll do 150 push-ups, 150 sit-ups, 200 lunges, some jump rope, and then some fitness kind of stuff. So it's a great, great, great exercise to do. We just want to do it right. Again, take the time to do it right rather than do it over.
Toon, you there, brother?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had got a call and I was talking, but my mic was out.
I didn't want. You can say I put you to sleep.
Oh nah, Coach, not at all, man.
Yeah, Coach, this is Tune In Sports, a fellow colleague of mine on YouTube. He has his own channel. He's a New Jersey-based guy, covers the Cavs. Got a big channel over there growing. So
this looks like one of the Cavs picture I see.
Yeah, that's Donovan Mitchell right there with the shades.
Okay.
So. Yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy right there.
So Tune's all things Cavs, NBA. So he's obviously into this conversation because he covers the NBA. But go ahead, Tune.
Tell Donovan I got them hamstrings and quads, man. Just give me about 2 times a week for 10 weeks.
Oh yeah, we could use you. We need him to stay healthy, man. We definitely need you. But nah, I honor to talk to you, Coach. Appreciate you coming up here. Honor to talk to you. I guess going back to the NBA, of course. I want to know your opinion on the shoes. I know some fans, there's fans out there that blame the shoes that the players are wearing. They think players should stop wearing like low tops and more high top shoes. You know, back in the day, I know they was balling in like Chuck Taylors, and if you wore Chuck Taylors, you know exactly how it feels to wear Chuck Taylors and hooping them. But guys like I think Jerry West, Magic, Larry Bird, and them guys,
Bill Russell.
Yeah, like respect to those guys. But what is your opinion on like the shoe that the NBA players wearing? Do you think that plays a factor in the injuries we're seeing?
Interesting question. And somewhere in a Foot Locker in my storage bin is a pair of Chuck Taylor canvas Converse from my 7th grade basketball team. Some other friends and I were talking about this, and like all of these fancy shoes, $180, $280, everything's wrapping around. But there is, in my opinion of these shoes, there's zero or very little protection around your ankle. And also, I think the fit on some of these shoes, I mean, I've seen some slow motion video of a pro athlete cutting, and it looks like after his foot plants, the top part of the shoe goes way out too far. Just my opinion on, what you need to secure your foot to make a jagged cut, or as my uncle used to call it, a rabbit dot. When you step out, step back. I think they're just kind of too fancy, if you will. Some guys that I played in high school with and in college, we would go like, so how many people hurt their ankle when we were in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade? We wore Chuck Taylor Converse that were made of canvas. I don't remember. There had to be somebody, but none of us could remember somebody missing a game because they hurt their ankle or they hurt their calf. But the other side of that is I think we notice it more because athletes today are bigger, faster, and stronger. And there are a couple of sports shoe stores that I send kids to get shoes. They cost a lot of money, but they fit your foot to the shoe and not the shoe to your foot. Huge difference. Now I can stop. Now I can cut. Now I can turn. And you watch some of those slow motion cuts and why is this foot, top part of the foot, not the sole of the shoe, going so far outside of that leather? Why is it going that far? So I think there is a combination of some things with that. But I think in essence it comes back to, are these guys prepping for that stuff?
Yeah, man. Because I know a lot of fans be wondering like about the shoe because a lot of these guys getting shoe deals and stuff like that, and wondering about the safety and performance of the shoe. Is do it play a factor on these players? Because it's crazy. Like they really played in Converse, and
Yeah.
them Chuck Taylor. That's crazy. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I see a kid coming up to train and they got on Chuck Taylors. I'm like, who is Chuck Taylor? And they look at me like, what?
I actually got a picture right here, Coach. Oh, it just went off my screen. Where'd it go? I actually had a picture. I'll pull it back up here, Coach, of Jason Tatum wearing his shoe. I'm curious what you think of these shoes right here.
Yeah, you can't. A couple of athletes I have play basketball. They go to maybe 7 or 8 stores or ended up ordering something online to get something that's above the ankle. A lot of them go around the ankle. And again, my opinion is just not a whole lot of support with that. And that may be why those old Chuck Taylors that's in my Foot Locker, not the store, my own Foot Locker in my storage in my garage, probably went around my ankle when I tied it tight. John Wooten once did a how you tie your shoes to college athletes. He had the best athletes in America, and he had to tell them how to tie their shoes. That's part of the reason the foot goes too far, in my opinion, around the shoe when you cut or turn. Any kid that walks up to you, tell them to bend down and grab the bottom lace, the very first eyelet, and pull it up. You will probably get 2 to 6 inches how loose that shoe is. So I think that's a contributor. I don't know how these guys tie or what they do, but that is definitely, I think, a contributor. If you don't have something holding that foot down and it's sliding all over the place, it's definitely going to be an injury. Plus, we're getting older. Not me.
Yeah, I know
You
in the
guys.
article it mentioned they said your heel should be slightly elevated in the shoe. The doctor said. When you look at these shoes too, Coach, what I noticed, and Toon, I'm sure you noticed this too. It looks like these shoes are higher off the ground more. These like the from the bottom of the shoe up to your bottom of your foot, they're higher, and you're seeing a lot of these shoes, not just in sports, but just in general, in fashion and
Yeah.
stuff. These higher platform shoes. I bought a pair of these Nikes probably like 5 months ago, and they were more higher platform. First time I ever
Yeah.
bought a shoe like that. I can't wear them anymore. My feet started to hurt. The
Yeah.
back of my back of my legs started to feel a little like sore. I'm not wearing them anymore. What do you
It's
think of that, Coach? The higher, because I know Kobe Bryant, when he started having injuries in his career, he specialized a shoe with Nike where it was like lower to the ground a little bit, but his foot was set into it, his heel was elevated, and he also had ankle support on the
yeah.
side too, where his foot was stable. Uh, what do you think of that?
It almost looks like a podiatrist made this. I mean, we're supposed to walk X. This is how we're supposed to walk. The shoe's supposed to kind of move a little bit. I think a lot of that got into shoes. You pull up a picture of old Chuck Taylors; they're flat in the ground. But
Yeah.
again, it's supposed to be better support, better for the foot. It makes your foot feel better. But I think a lot of it is these footwear is kind of wild, man. I mean, when you look at somebody cutting and their foot's going way over the edge of that shoe, I don't think that's good. But I'm not a doctor, so I think if you can stabilize that, it's better. But again, there are 7 or 8 band exercises to help strengthen the tissue and ligaments and the muscles around your ankle, lower and upper calf, and it helps you when you get that roll or that bend. It come back a little quicker, but it's a sport. We're gonna hit stuff, we're gonna fall, and we're gonna get hurt.
Yeah. Tune, you got anything else?
Yeah, I got one more question. Yeah, Coach, what are your thoughts about load management? I know we've seen a lot of it more with not even just older athletes. I know a lot of young athletes have been load managing more, especially like on back-to-back games. I know we see guys like Kawhi Leonard who specialize in load management, and he gets a lot of hate for it. He didn't want to try to rush back too early. He only he knows his body, but he's a guy that specializes in load management. So, you have guys load managing on back-to-back games. I know it's a long season. I've seen a lot more. Like, what is your take on it? Do you think it's a smart thing? Is the play is soft? Like, what are your thoughts on load management?
Give me 1 second, too. I think he came back. Yeah. You
I
there,
think Coach
Coach?
froze.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, we got you back in. Did you get the
Okay.
question there?
Well, I got most of it, then we blanked out. But if you meaning load management as far as play and activity and those types of things, I think that is critical. And I think now the NBA will even put out that Michael Jordan's not playing Friday. He's resting. So people don't buy those tickets looking for Michael Jordan to play. But load management in that regard, again, that's back to the recovery piece. And once again, when we start getting older, we can't play 90 minutes. We can't play 60 minutes. So it got to be a difference. And I think that should be medical intervention as well. There should be some medical persons, getting over this thing, looking at these. I think pro athletes particularly should have assessments about every 6 months, full body assessment. Not to mention the concussion thing, but how are my ankles? How are my knees? How are my joints? What am I doing? Rather than just saying, we're just going to keep playing until something breaks. But managing that stress, I think, is good. And once again, we're back to prep. I think we can manage that better if we're prepared for it. 60, 90 days, preseason, postseason recovery, just chill out and come back after it.
Yeah, Michael Jordan played 82 games, I think 10 times in his career. And you mentioned earlier, a lot of people, when you read articles about Michael Jordan, he was doing stuff that people never saw.
Yeah.
And he probably a lot of, he worked with Tim Grover, obviously, a lot of preseason prep work and building his body up. So it's almost like, is that the key, coach? Is, if you're an athlete, like pro athlete in particular, if you do all that prep work in the season, by the time you get in the season, you could still play. And obviously you want to play 82 or whatever, but it helps you take more days off in between.
It's huge. It can't speak enough about preparation. For over the years for me with athletes, I generally would start track and field indoor-ish kind of stuff in December, a couple times a week, just doing prep work. Prep work, 6 to 7 weeks of that, late January, early February. Maybe we go 3 times a week. I'm not doing a lot of endurance stuff. We're not trying to push trucks. We're not pushing buildings over. We're preparing our bodies for what we're about to do. High school athletes can compete in 4 events in the track and field meet. That's a lot. We don't get much heat or nice weather, but that's a lot. 4 events is a lot when everything is aggressive. So December, January, February for me is when preparation for that. Now we're starting to get into some physical part of it, some fitness in late February, early March. And then the season is also, for me, is part of being what people like to call in shape. I call being in shape when you recover a little bit quicker. We're not going to do stuff to week after week after week. We got to have some breaks in there. The body needs recovery. So we got to prep it, let it rest, and then we go after it.
Coach, you actually have a question in the chat. Humble said, why did you want to become a coach?
Interesting question. I had no idea over 40 years ago that I would do this. I just sort of fell into doing this. I was kind of fast when I was a kid, and nobody ever really stopped and said, do this, do that, do this, do that. I just kind of fell into it. But now for me, it's when I see a kid, like I got a couple of kids that I just started working with, 8-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they're doing things that we need to fix today so that they're better when they get in high school. So for me, I want to help as many athletes as I can get better. I didn't have this kind of stuff. I'm training some kids whose parents and grandparents, the grandparents I went to school with at East and Garfield and Bookdale, and they're bringing their kids to me. And every time they would go, what if we did this when we were in school?
Yeah.
And I said, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be somewhere playing baseball, saying I'm not going to play baseball for $19 million a year anymore. If they can't pay me $20 million, I'm not playing. But nobody did this stuff. So I really, 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 truly want to see kids improve. Every athlete can get better. Doesn't mean you're going to go to state if you're a track and field athlete, but if in March you did a time trial in 100 that was 14.1 seconds, and in May you ran 13.8, you got better. That's my job. I want everybody to get better. Now, I don't know everything, but I've been fortunate enough to have access to about 5 or 6 people that can tell me stuff.
Yeah.
And one of those times was when Butch Reynolds was a speed coach at Ohio State with Tressel. I was on the field doing Troy Smith's pro day, and I was hitting people up like crazy for information. So if I think I can help you get better, but it's a process and it takes time, and we got to work at it. And then I want you to tell somebody else it helped you and it made you better. And there's no greater teacher of life than sport.
Absolutely.
We want to win. We want to lose. We don't want to go to practice. We don't want to go to work. So I like the aspect of group and teams. But as far as that goes, I just want to see kids get better, man. I just want to see them have an opportunity to play better, do better. And what I found, too, is when it comes to the academic side, if they're playing stuff and they're pretty good at it, they don't want to flunk. They don't want to miss out. They want to do stuff to stay better. It happens once in a while. But this kid is like, I'm nailing this, man. I'm getting this thing done. And you get more confident about yourself. If you know, I'm playing good. I'm getting this, man. I got this. I'm playing better. Confidence, man. Kids walking around, I feel good. This is it. This makes me. And kids have a tendency to stay out of trouble when they're doing stuff.
Yeah, I think too. It's like, and that's why I love having you on, Coach. And I was only supposed to have on a little short time, but I know you love sharing the information, and you don't miss the opportunity to help people with this. That's why I love having you on, and it's great to have you as a resource and personally too. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely. I think it helps. Sports, like you said, it's the biggest teacher, but also helps you build self-discipline too. Because really, to be great, you have to kind of hold yourself accountable first. You got to want to go to these sessions with Coach. Where you got to want to go to practice. You got to want to, And now I think more than ever, you're really seeing that the kids that really separate themselves, because discipline is, in my opinion, isn't what it used to be 10 years ago when I played. Where if you miss practice, it was a big deal. Now it's just kind of like, well, whoever shows up today, that's what we got. It is what it is nowadays. It's kind of the culture we live in. But the guys that do go, the people that do go, they're the ones that are really panning out and having success.
Hard work beats talent when talent stops working hard. And there's the operative word here is hard. You got to work smarter while working harder. You can't beat yourself up every day and every day you beat yourself up. That's not the way to do it. But along that coaching thing, I think I told you last time we talked at Joy Park Community Center. I was leaving after a difficult session with some kids. Difficult meaning a couple of kids were like cutting up a little bit. I had to sit them down. And I'm walking out talking to somebody, and there was an older woman standing at the door. And I told this guy, man, this was tough today. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this, man? This kid was just incorrigible today. And that's going to happen. They were 8 to 12-year-old kids. I held the door open for this lady. She walked out. When she got to the outer part of the door, she turned around and said, Coach. And I said, yes. She said, because you're supposed to. I'm thinking, what is she talking about? It didn't hit me until a few days later. I guess I'm supposed to do this. I look at it, I study it. I talk to people. I learn from stuff every day. But one thing, it's not work yet. So I'm still having fun.
Yeah. He said, last question. Well, he actually asked too, how do you measure your success as a coach? I feel like you've answered that though. Seeing your progress with the players and the athletes you train. If you want to add anything to that as well. But he also said, what can players do in the off season? Which I know you kind of hit on some of this, but he said, what can players do in the off season as far as conditioning and programs for players?
Well, one of the things they can do is to prep and rest. And that sounds crazy. And it sounds like he's beating his horse about rest and recovery. But there is a lot of stuff you can do in the off season. I'm seeing a 8th grade volleyball player now who prior to about 4 or 5 weeks ago, no one has ever really asked her to do a push-up or a sit-up or do anything like relatively physical along building that. The core strength is critical, shoulders to knees, not an 8-pack. That's just, that's good superficial stuff.
Yeah, you can have an 8-pack but not have core stability.
Exactly. And you could lift a building, but you can't move, stop, run, start, or turn. So it's important to build on the things, particularly in the postseason, preseason, particularly in college track and field, and they have cycles, megacycle, a macro cycle. But we can't do that with all the other sports because track and field season in high school was like 7 weeks. So that's why I start in December. But there's just a lot of little stuff you can do. This 8th grade girl is now, I think today we did 160 push-ups, 160 sit-ups, 160 body weight squats, and ran about 70 meters fast. Couldn't have done that 4 weeks ago, when no one has ever asked her to do a push-up. But she's been doing homework. She's doing 80 push-ups, 80 sit-ups, and 80 squats a week. After next week, that's going to be 95.
Yeah, just keep increasing. Yeah.
Right. And it's the miracle of compounding. But the crazy thing is her dad texted me and said she's actually using this band and she's doing push-ups and sit-ups. A little bit at a time. It's little bitty bites of the apple at a time.
And he asked, too, he asked, how would you describe your coaching philosophy? I feel like you just answered that's kind of your philosophy, though, is increase the core, obviously core stability, strength, flexibility, balance, proper mechanics.
Yeah, how good or how bad do you want to be good? And like I said earlier, I had a lot of 7th, 8th grade kids that get to high school and they kind of fall off. I don't really want to do all of this stuff anymore. So now that kid that you were smashing in 7th and 8th grade is working his tail off. And now he's better because hard work beats talent when talent stops working hard. So it's just a little bit at a time. You got to be patient. It's definitely a marathon and not a sprint. There is no get fast, quick scheme, get strong, quick scheme. It's just none of that stuff, man. It takes time, dedication, and patience. And I'm one to tell you about patience. Decades ago, I would say, oh, Lord, give me patience, but hurry. But you just have to learn. You got to wait. You got to do the right stuff. You got to wait, and if I don't know the answer, I know who to call to find out.
Right. Coach, I can't thank you enough for taking time. And I know you had a busy day. I appreciate taking this long to come up here and answer questions and discuss a lot of this. Definitely going to share this all over. And, I'm sure Tune will share it, obviously, because it's NBA related. And this is the big topic right now. So I feel like I appreciate you coming here tonight, giving your expertise. And before you get out of here, if anybody's interested in your training with you, with their athletes, where can they find you at?
Yeah, cell phone's probably the best move, 330-592-1618, 592-1618 in the program, number 1 in your training heart. So just hit me up, give me a call, the email too, but cell phone's probably your best shot. Like I say, I'm willing to talk to anybody, do anything. You just got to be patient. You got to wait. I can evaluate you and show you what you're doing and how you can fix it.
Appreciate you, Coach. And I know, Tune, you got any last words, brother, for that Coach get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to say, thanks for answering my question today, Coach. I appreciate for having you on and, giving us insight.
Yeah, tell them Cavaliers I'm ready. I'm waiting for them to get them off them bicycles and keep them on the court.
Yeah, we gotta get you on the staff, man. We need a new training staff. We gotta get you on there, man.
Tell them I'm cheap and reasonable, but not easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, appreciate you, Coach. We'll see you in the next one.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
Take care. Always good. Later.
Tune for hanging around there, brother. I didn't mean to hold it up too long, but
oh no, you good, man. Look, man.
I get that mind available. I got to pick his mind, especially I'm sure you've seen a lot. This has been trending the last couple of days. With
I think it was good. I think it was a good discussion topic to bring up because everything is going with the NBA.
Yeah, thank you to Coach.
Perfect person to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So that's the person I thought of. I was like, let me incorporate him in the draft today. This is, I don't think everyone wants to hear about somebody's here. Let's be honest. Outside you get the top 10 picks, a lot of people don't know who we're picking. So nowadays, but we are going to recap it. I'm going to take a break. I don't know, Tune, if you got to go. Humble, I put the link in the chat for you, Humble. If you want to come up here and recap the draft, I got Mike in the building. Mike, you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mike, I know you've been paying attention to the draft as we were talking, and Tune, were you still able to see some of the draft picks while we were talking, or no?
Yeah, I saw like a couple picks. I know Trey Johnson Trey Johnson got picked, and it's another guy that got picked. Trey Johnson went to the Wizards, and Jeremiah Fears went to the New Orleans Pelicans. They end up taking him. So yeah, that's interesting.
All right, gentlemen. I'm gonna come back because I got something else I want to talk about Cavs related. If you need to take a break too and have that, I'm gonna hand it off to Mike. Mike, I'll put this up here on the screen for you, Mike. The NBA draft order. Give me 1 second. Mike, anything stood out to you tonight, brother? So far?
Yeah, that Mavericks fans really don't care about Cooper Flag all that much. That's been the most shocking thing, at least on Twitter and everything. I've just been seeing all these Mavs fans are still just livid, absolutely livid, and they still want just to run Nico out of town. But other than that, I mean, I really was a little shocked at the response to Philly fans are not super excited for VJ. They were actually hoping for Ace Bailey. Trey Johnson going to the Wizards. I mean, that's great for the Wizards. It's a shame that Trey Johnson is going to the worst franchise in all of basketball.
Poverty.
But
yeah, he's going to Siberia.
Yeah, he's a super talented player, great catch and shoot player. He can facilitate his own shot. I was a big fan of Jeremiah Fears coming out of Oklahoma as well. Thought it was a little weird that they picked a point guard, but he is a excellent point guard. Really good at spreading the ball around, but also is super aggressive to the basket. And then Brooklyn, who has like 5 picks tonight, went and took Igor Demon, the power forward out of BYU. I think he'll work out. I think it's funnier that his name is Igor. And then I think the Raptors kind of got a little bit of a steal with Colin Murray Boyles at 9. And the Raptors have been in this weird kind of soft rebuild mode where they're super young. They have a team. They kind of remind me of the Cavs.
Yeah, the picks, Mike,
back.
Before we interview Coach, Trey Johnson at 6, Jeremiah Fears at 7, Igor Demon at 8 to Brooklyn. Toronto took Colin Murray Boyles. 10, Kaman Mulach, I think that's his name.
I think it's Malik, maybe.
Malik. I don't know. You know how to pronounce that too?
That's the big man out of Duke.
Yeah. He went to Houston. 11 was right. I got it right here on the screen. Let me zoom in a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. So we got that, and then 11 was Cedric Coward to Portland. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Some dude from France went to Chicago. Yeah, Derek Queen, the center from Maryland, went to Corey's Atlanta Hawks. Here's what Corey thinks about that. Let me get Corey up here, actually, Mike. I think he wanted to come up here. I'm gonna send him the link. Tune, you got any reaction to any of these picks here? As we were talking to Coach Carter Bryant, just went to the Spurs, a forward out of Arizona.
Well, I like the pick for the Rockets. Again, you say went to the Rockets, right? Let me see.
Yeah.
He went to the Rockets. Yeah, I think it
looks like he went to the
cool
Suns
pickup
via the Rockets.
I think he's going to help out with the because he's more of a defensive big. I don't look at him really for offense. I think he's going to help out with the defense. He's the type big that I think is going to be a working project. His offense going to have to be patient with that, but he's definitely good on defense, and I guess being that rim protector for them.
Yeah, I agree. I like that pick. They need that center down low, a little more depth now. Houston's got a nice looking team, obviously, now with KD, and they already had some pieces around them. So I like the Jeremiah Fears kid. Tune, I'm telling you, New Orleans, I mean, they just brought in Jordan Poole. They just brought in Jeremiah Fears. I got a feeling they're unloading one of those Waynes because I mean you're not going to keep all those guys on. That's a kind of a log jam there in the backcourt there, and the Waynes and the guards. There's only one ball to go around. I feel like one of these guys could be with Herb Jones or maybe Trey Murphy.
I would say Trey Murphy in a heartbeat.
Because Jordan Poole's going to take up a lot of shots. This
Yeah.
Jeremiah Fierce kid needs the ball in his hand to be effective. They traded CJ away, brought in Jordan Poole. Pool party maybe again in New Orleans. I don't know. So I mean, what do you guys think there? I'm gonna go, Mike. I gotta go real quick and take a just 10-minute break because I gotta eat dinner real quick and take a little break. So, Toon, you're welcome to stay up here and talk with Mike. Go over this stuff. You can go ahead, Mike. You got it, brother.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a big fan of the Jeremiah Fierce pick. I think he's gonna work out exponentially for NOLA. And I don't know too much about this Noah Assange kid out of Germany. I know they're trying to. I mean, Chicago's been trying to rebuild for a decade. Do you have any insight on him, Tunin?
You said Noah?
Yeah. German prospect.
You said German prospect?
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about him. Where he got picked? Where he went?
He went to Chicago at 12.
Chicago at 12. Wow. Well, Chicago is Josh Giddey under contract? I want to see if he's under contract. But Chicago. I mean, I feel like they always. I don't know about Chicago, man, but Chicago they still have Lonzo Ball over there. I know Lonzo Ball was in some rumors to be moved. I don't know about Chicago. Chicago is just a team that they have some good players over there, but they're just like I don't know about them. They're young team.
Yeah. Yeah, they always seem like they're one of those teams that just seems to not get it right. Like they've been trying to get it right for a while. I mean, they had obviously prime Derrick Rose, one of the greatest athletes to ever get taken from us essentially by injury. And since then, I mean, they've been trying their damnedest just to figure something out there. I mean, they had that small window with Jimmy Butler, but we all know how that went. Like Chicago's just one of those. Yeah, and it's shocking to see that's the way that franchise has gone the past like 10, 12 years.
Yeah, they haven't really been relevant since the Derrick Rose days. But well, I mean, you have Dwayne Wade. You know that little short project with Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler and them. But nowadays, they had DeMar DeRozan. It wasn't. I think what hurt Chicago. Since Lonzo got hurt, they just always been that team that was just like was right there, play in type team. And they just couldn't like get it together. I think the Lonzo Ball injury kind of affected them.
Yeah.
But DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, that project, I just knew it wasn't gonna work, man. And so I think picking up Josh Giddey, that was something different. He had a pretty solid year. I know he had a good stretch towards the end. I like Kobe White. That's who I like over there. Kobe White is a pretty good
Kobe
guard.
White. I loved him coming out of the draft. Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel for Chicago fans, man. I hope they figure it out there eventually because that was such a good fan base. I mean, Chicago fans have been like Cleveland fans for the past, well, for a while. The White Sox bad, the Blackhawks are so. The Cubs are so. The Bears are looking up, but very meh. And then the Bulls have just been trash.
Yeah, they've been pretty mediocre, man. But they hey, I don't know about the draft pick. He's like I guess going to be like a forward for them, I guess. Yeah, they have some pieces over there, man. I don't know what they're gonna look like this year. What next season? I don't know their potential, man. But they just gotta rebuild. Like I said, I like Kobe White, man. Kobe White is a hooper. How do you
Kobe.
feel about the other pick? How you feel about Ace Bailey going to Utah?
I mean, Ace Bailey was, one of my favorite prospects of the entire draft. I mean, he's the perfect size for a wing. Um, it. I know he like rubbed a lot of players, or I'm not players. He rubbed a lot of teams badly during the draft process. He wouldn't work out for teams, and like gave somebody kind of a weird taste in their mouth. But he's great in the mid range. His shot selection has always been like kind of a concern a little bit. But if Utah uses him right, he can do a lot. I mean, his floater game's on point. His catch and shoot game, and going to the rim is like intense. I mean, I really liked Ace Bailey. I think he needs to work on long distance, like just like sitting out of the perimeter, not in like rhythm, shooting a three. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be great for Utah, and that's a team that's been, rebuilding. They think they have something with Markkanen. Really wish the Cavs would have never got rid of Markkanen.
I know a lot of Cavs fans always revisit. They miss Laurie. I get it.
I know. Well, here's the thing: we got Donovan Mitchell out of it.
Yeah.
I still want to do that trade, but I wish Kobe Altman would have just found a way to do it without giving Laurie up.
It was impossible though. I don't know. There's nothing else I don't think you could really offer them. You gave up Colin Sexton and the guy you drafted out of Kansas, Baji.
Yeah.
And that I don't know what else. You wasn't giving up Mobley. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have given Mobley for Donovan. That kind of ruins the point. But I don't know, man. I look back at this season and I'm like, damn, if we had Laurie Markkanen in the playoffs, like what would have happened with this squad?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but you know what's funny? We had Laurie Markkanen. He'll probably end up getting hurt too, man. But with the injuries,
Yeah.
we just banged up, man. Honestly, I just banged up, man. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries are a concern and a huge concern. What do you think of the night? You think the Cavs are going to try and make some moves tonight at any? Because I know there was the Kevin Durant smoke, which turned out to be more than smoke, and it looks like we would have been willing to part with Darius Garland, which I was a little shocked to hear. I didn't think he was even being considered to be on the block. I don't think there have been any, at least as far as I can see, any trades of significance as of yet, but the night's still young. We still have a ton of picks to go. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think the Cavs. I will hope something like I hope I see some fireworks, but I don't think the Cavs doing nothing. I don't see them trading in, into this first round. I was hoping to see something, but I don't know. I think we got our 2 picks for tomorrow night. Supposedly they're supposed to trade the picks, but and see what they do with that. But I don't see them trading into the first round. I don't think we had nothing from the Cavs tonight, in my opinion. And the Kevin Durant thing, Darius Garland, I think could go for the right deal. I don't think Kobe Altman's trying to trade Darius Garland, like, trying to, but he's listening, obviously, and like there's deals out there that you could trade Darius for. Like Kevin Durant deal though, like the Kevin Durant thing, I'm kind of 50-50 on it, man. I don't know. Kevin Durant would have definitely, be a great addition to the Cavalier team. But at the same time, you're giving up a younger guard. KD, have injuries and he's a little bit older. Still top 15 player. But I just look at
Yeah.
it from the injuries. But we trying to win though. That's the thing. We trying to win. So you got to take a risk sometimes. But yeah, the Suns obviously declined the deal. I heard that Cavs wanted to get some first round picks out of them, and they said no. They said no, but KD was never coming here, so it was just he was always going to Houston. That was the way he really wanted to go. KD didn't want to come to Cleveland. So
Yeah. How many years do you think KD's got left in the league? Because I know he struggled with injuries a little bit more than LeBron or some of the other older stars that are still in the league. What do you think? How many years do you think KD's got left? I'm betting on like 2 to 3 before he decides to call it quits.
Oh, I still think he got like a few years left. I mean, he's still playing at a high level.
Yeah.
I think he still got a few years. Anything going to Houston next to them guys out there, they got some good defense over there. So I think he got like probably 2 or 3 years. He's still a scorer. He's still doing his thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just realizing that Brooklyn has like 4 picks tonight.
Yeah, they said that they are looking to they don't be surprised they like draft. They use them pick to draft. The draft guy. They might use all them picks tonight. I know they could have trade some of them picks, but they might use all them picks.
I wouldn't be shocked, man. I mean, Brooklyn is another one of those teams that it's like, what do you got to lose by using every draft pick? Like, I mean, they tried that super team thing for whatever reason, didn't work out. When Kenny was over there. And then, they've been young and up and coming. They got some players on that team, but I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more NBA teams kind of go to the OKC formula. Cause I mean, Sam Presti kind of was proved in small uncertain terms that like, here, if you stack those picks and you just pick best player available, it does pay off. I mean, that's all OKC did for the past couple of years. Now here they are with their first NBA championship, and most of the talent's homegrown outside of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who they got off the Clippers. But at least we didn't trade Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and we only traded Lauri Markkanen. Man, it must suck to be a Clippers fan. I couldn't even imagine.
I think the formula is Paul George. You get Paul George and you trade him, and you get back assets because Paul George been the reason why OKC is where they at now, and he's the reason why the Pacers are making the finals. He's been a
Yeah.
part of these deals to bring back some assets.
Yeah, that's man.
I'm still up to the side. I'm eating my dinner. Right? Shout out my mom. Mama's cooking. But
Shout out to your mom. Shout out.
shout out to mom. Okay, where's the applause at? Oh yeah. Shout out to mom. Shout out to all the moms out there. But, now let's see you guys in the back. We got Humble up here. Humble, what's good, brother? We got Jersey in the house. Jersey, Mike, I'll hand it back to you. But Jersey, I know you're big on Cooper Flag, like I am. And Humble thinks about him. Jersey, what's your thoughts on the man? Obviously, it's the Cooper Flag draft, like we put in the main slide there. What's your thoughts on Cooper Flag? How great do you think this kid will be?
I think when he was 7 years old, he was more productive than Tristan Thompson. I mean, I think this dude could have outplayed Tristan Thompson's sorry ass when he was 7. You guys agree?
Hey, I plead the fifth, man.
No, I think he's the when I watched that video, that tape of him, I'm in agreement with you, Joe. So I think he's the greatest prospect I've seen since LeBron. I mean, then you go watch him, playing against the Olympic team when he was 16 years old. I mean, he was out there doing what he wanted with those guys.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys were scratching their heads. You know what I mean?
Going right at them.
Yeah, and just having his way a lot of times. So, man, Mike, who was it that was arguing with me at work about Dallas didn't win that trade? Dallas won that trade.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm there yet.
Oh, dude. Oh,
he
my
hasn't
God.
played a minute in the NBA, brother.
I don't care, dude. Everyone told me that about LeBron. I remember telling I was golfing with this guy. The guy that was kind of like a mentor to me at the time. This is the night of the draft. We're playing in our league. And I told him, and I said, dude, I'm telling you, this guy's better than 85% of the players in the league right now. And he's like, I don't know about that. And probably about 2 weeks into the season, he called me. He said, Joe, you hit the nail right on the head. I'm telling you, this dude is this talented, man. He's going to come in immediate impact in the league. So, you've got him. You got him as a rookie. You know what I mean? If you play your cards right, you got him forever. They won. Dude, look how good he is. Look at Doncic can't even get up to court.
He looks very good in college.
He's dominant in college. He's absolutely dominant in college. Mike, did you not watch him playing against those NBA players in the Olympic team? At 16 years old, what he was doing.
Dog, I'm not saying that he can't be. I'm just not there yet. I'm not there on any rookie until I see it, and it doesn't matter what sport it is. It could be baseball, it could be hockey, it could be football, it could be basketball. I'm not there yet. You know, Zion Williamson was supposed to be the next LeBron. Not that Zion
No,
Williamson.
who said that? Who said that? Zion Williamson.
Everybody?
No, they did not. He wasn't a fraction what LeBron was. Not
I'm
even
not
close.
crazy.
Dude.
Tune in. You remember that smoke, right? Everybody was saying,
Yeah, the comparison. They always gonna compare though. But Zion got it. Zion is in his own way though. He got in his own way.
yeah.
Zion was a physical player, but he was very. He's athletic. He's a specimen. It was like watching a tight end out there, with Jordan's athletic skills. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But he was no.
Oh, is that me, or did he cut out for you guys too?
Hey, the jersey cut out.
You hear me now?
Yep. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, there wasn't even a comparison. So that's just the media, build stories around a player. You know what I mean, to get people talking. But this guy is. I mean, this guy can do everything. And so, and was he 6'9", 221? So
yeah,
I think he's the most gifted dude I've seen since LeBron.
I mean, he's going into a good situation too, so he gonna have the pieces around to succeed. He don't have to go into a bottom feeder teams, and the pressure's all on him. He's going into a great situation in Dallas, and with a great coach.
Right. I mean, Dallas won that. I'm telling you, Lakers they're never going to win with Luka Doncic. The guy's just not. He's just not that guy. He's just not the guy that takes a team to the finals and wins. I mean, they got smoked in the first round. They got LeBron.
It's not built right. They got to build that team around Luka.
Yeah, but I know that. But if you watch it, the guy, unless he gets himself in shape, I don't think he can play I don't think he can play the minutes required for the game, the amount of games he has to play. I mean, the guy
he lost weight though. You saw him lately. It looked like he's working out. He's conditioning.
Okay, well, he needs to. He needs to, because he's out there.
You remember when he first came in the league? Like he was skinny. He was slimmer. Like now, eating that food and everything.
LeBron's 40-year-old ass out there outrunning him.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right. So I don't know. I just think the Mavericks are going to win a title before the Lakers. Long before the Lakers. And that's all that matters. That means they won the trade. And that guy will play a long time. And if they treat him right, he'll stay in Dallas. And they won the trade, because they'll win the title first.
That squad crazy though. They got the kid Lively, the center. They got Daniel Gafford that came back. They still got PJ Washington, I think, Anthony Davis. I think they're gonna have Najee Marshall. Like, they're gonna have that
Kyrie
defense.
Irving?
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch Anthony Davis with them for 20 games.
Well, I mean, if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, I mean,
Anthony Davis is gonna kill.
Yeah. I mean, he's as good as anybody on. I mean, that's the thing. Can he stay healthy?
What did Charles Barkley call him? What was his nickname for him? Street Clothes.
Street Clothes.
Yeah, I call him. Yeah, Charles Barkley called him Street Clothes.
I call him all done. AD all done.
Terry
all
Cloth.
Done. That's good. All done.
He's Terry Cloth. Because he's so soft.
AD, man.
Did you? Hey, this is kind of random, but did you see when I can't remember what 2K year he was still playing with the Lakers, but there was a 2K that came out that year, and Anthony Davis was streaming it, and he was playing as himself, and he went up for like a layup in the video game,
He
and
got hurt.
got hurt in the game.
I think I've seen that.
He got hurt in the game.
I think I did see that.
It's the most wild shit.
That's sad.
It's sad, but it was funny. It was real funny. His chat was blown up.
That dude just stay healthy, man.
He's been better though. He played more games. He's been better.
Yeah, I mean they had a I don't know, maybe kind of reduce the minutes in the regular season, or you know what he ought to do. You know what he should do. He should do what Zadrunas did. You guys probably don't remember. You weren't here. I don't think you were. Yeah, you weren't old enough to remember, but Zadrunas was more plagued with injuries before than him. I mean, it was terrible. Zadrunas couldn't play more than 2 games without hurting his ankles, right? So the Cavs were actually the first team to start using ice. So that Zadrunas actually had a guy on the roster, and his only job was to supply ice and just keep ice on him. So after every game, every practice, Zadrunas would have just bags of ice on his knees, his ankles for hours. And that's how he was able to that reduced all the injury, and that's why you're able to start to see him when LeBron was there. Zadrunas was playing multiple, he was playing a whole season. It wasn't until they started. Some doctor came in and said start icing him after every practice, every game, and they had a whole regiment. It'd be in hotels, and they'd have like the hotel had they set it up with the hotels where they had to have just fucking tons of ice, and it allowed him to reduce the swelling, reduce injury, and then he was able to play. Anthony Davis should do something like that. You know what I mean? Because this dude's always hurting his ankles, his knees. So maybe reduce his minutes, and then do an ice, just live on ice. You might get, and he might be able to play a whole season. Work for Zadrunas.
You know what he should do? Oh, by the way, I'm back. You know what he should do? He should go back and watch your interview with Coach Legrair.
Yeah, he should.
And subscribe.
So he needs to get a stretch band, start drinking low-fat chocolate milk.
Yeah, then he's going to go subscribe to Tune In Sports. That's what he should do.
I agree.
Humble, you there, brother?
Humble,
yes, sir.
Asleep.
I just came in right in time.
What up, Humble?
Humble,
what's going on,
good,
guys?
brother? Good to see you. Appreciate you taking time to come up here and tuning in tonight. And Humble's always holding down the chat for us. Humble, what's your thoughts on this draft so far, brother? I got the picks right here. Since the last time I was up here, I think the last pick was Carter Bryant. So we got the Oklahoma City Thunder took Thomas Sorber, the center. 3 centers in a row, too. How about that?
Wow.
Thomas Sorber to the Thunder. The Memphis Grizzlies took Gain Hansen from China. And
No way.
Minnesota can't get enough of centers from France, so they took Joan Berenger. You guys, Tune, you got anything on those guys, or the 3 centers in a row here in the draft? Who would have thought that?
They started out all guards. It was really guard heavy in the beginning.
Yeah.
Now it's switching up.
The last center from China that was in the NBA was pretty good. So
there's been a couple other ones, we just don't remember them. Yeah. You guys. So, Tune, what do you think? Or not Tune? Excuse me, Humble. What do you think of this draft so far, brother? What do you think of Cooper Flag and just all the what he picked stood out to you tonight?
Cooper should be good. I think what Jersey said is pretty accurate. I think he's better than probably half of the league. And at first, I didn't like him. I didn't like anything. I thought he was pretty average. But I mean, if you can do basically what the league needs you to do, and I mean, he's a pretty tall dude. I think he'll fit in well with Jason Kidd's organization. And yeah, Cooper Flag would be good. I understand where Mike's coming from. You still got to see how a rookie's going to fit in. But yeah, that kid's been playing at a high level for so long. I think he'll fit in just fine.
What did you think about I know our Philly guys were reacting to. What did you think about where Philly went?
I don't know about the kid. I don't know about him. I know Toon probably knows more about him.
VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah. What did you think about the Ace Bailey falling? I know we talked about that on Toon's show a lot too.
Yeah,
What
thought
do
he
you
would have
think
been
of him going to
higher
5 to Utah? Obviously, because of stuff off the court before the draft, not criminal wise, but just because. What was it exactly again, Toon? He didn't want to work out or something, or
with Philly,
uh,
right, Toon?
yeah, was it? He didn't want to work out with Philly, I think it was, and Philly said, "Okay, we're good then," and passed on him. So, what did you think of him falling to 5 there, Humble?
Um,
With a younger
it's
Utah
better than
Jazz
10. I
team?
mean, he's in the top 5. He should be pretty proud of himself for making the 5. So, I mean, yeah, he could obviously, you know, say yeah, but that's not where he wanted to go, obviously, and you know, we'll see where his talents going. He's in Utah now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Utah's hungry team, man. We'll see what happens.
Before I get to my last topic, Cavs related tonight, I think Toon's got to take a break real quick. I know he's got some off-duty stuff he's doing as well. So, uh, Mike, I'll start with you, and then Jersey, and then Humboldt. You can finish up. I know you guys all
Yes.
watched the interview with Coach Legrair. We talked about the article that came out today on ESPN. Let me get this off the screen here. If I can get it on the screen. Okay. Yeah. So why are all the Achilles injuries happening in the NBA this season? Maria Lawson from ESPN wrote it. Also, we had Coach on for an hour, and he went in depth about it. And I just want to get your guys' reaction, the coach's interview, and what you thought about what he said related to that's a hot topic right now in sports, especially in the NBA. A lot of former players are talking about this week with the injuries and why they're in the uptick, and especially the Achilles. Whoever wants to take a crack at it, Mike, you want to go first? What do you think about what Coach had to say? The article at hand.
Yeah, I thought as always, Coach Legrair had just some excellent insight, professional insight on the issue, and it almost kind of like went back to our first interview with them, where like you have all of these professional teams that don't stress like these what could be just like basic elements of taking care of your body. I mean, proper hydration, stretching, and doing the proper like calisthenic workouts to reduce these. And also just building up actual strength, like he was saying, and not like muscle strength, like Arnold Schwarzenegger strength, but real strength um, in those problem areas that players in both major sports leagues, the NBA and NFL, struggle with, because Achilles injuries are on the rise, and especially in young players. Yeah, so I thought Coach Legrair's insight, as always, super professional, which as a professional fan, gotta love that. And and yeah, no, I thought as always just great insight from Coach Legrair, and so happy that he joined us this evening.
Jersey, what was your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's just not the NBA. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Deshaun Watson, it's what are these guys doing while they're training, or there's something these guys are doing different, or there's something they've done different along the way that's causing this. And you think of Aaron Rodgers, think of Watson, you think of Tatum, they were all pushing off. You know what I mean? Those three, they were all planted on that foot, pushing off. And I mean, I just don't know. I mean, it's hard to. Something's wrong, because you never used to see. God, the only Achilles I can remember when I was younger, Achilles injury, was Dominique Wilkins. I think it's the one that ruined his career. I was watching that game live, but it just wasn't a common injury, and now it's like you're just waiting to see it. So I don't know. I think guys condition better than they did back then. I would think. I mean, all these trainers, and it's just there's got to be something they're doing over the course of time that's causing it. And then here's the other thing: is that you always hear of a calf injury. Is it something in the calf? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is the injury starting somewhere else, and then the Achilles just lets go? You hear that calf injury, calf, and then is it just the Achilles the final point to just bust loose? So I don't know. I'm sure they could figure it out if they wanted to, but will they? It's hard to say.
Yeah, I know Coach really touched on a lot too about the overuse and just the lack of preparation. He kept always preparation. These
Well,
guys, the preparation's not probably what it should be.
Well, I'm gonna say he's definitely right on preparation, because you think, who prepares here? Look at LeBron. The way, one thing to say about LeBron is, this dude's had a career with virtually no injuries, but he just prepares himself. He prepares his body. This guy puts the time in. It's probably more critical than practicing shooting free throws, threes, or doing whatever he does to practice on the court. The conditioning and the preparation. Same thing with Tom Brady. I think it's an elasticity thing. If you look at Tom Brady, why he was able to play so long, he stopped lifting just to apply metrics, and was kept his elasticity. He stayed flexible. I can tell you this: at 47 years old, that's what causes more pain than anything, is losing your flexibility. That's where the pain comes from. You just every time you move, it hurts, and it just starts to create injuries. So if you look at those two guys, condition their bodies. LeBron, he's not doing heavy lifting. I'm sure he's lifting. He's just doing reps. You know what I mean, to stay tight. But he's never had. Look how many games he's played all in this entire career. Between playoff games, Olympics. And knock on wood, it's never happened to him. So that's probably the main thing, is preparation. But there's something else these guys have to be doing wrong over the course of time that's helping it happen.
Humble, I know you were gave Coach some questions. I appreciate that, brother. Like always,
Yeah,
they were
man.
great questions. What did you think about the interview, brother, and just this article written today?
Oh man, we definitely got to get him up here more, man. I definitely enjoyed his presence. I know a lot of people definitely enjoyed his presence. I always enjoy hearing older people talk, man. I can always absorb the knowledge from them. But talking about the Achilles injury, I was gonna say, man, I remember seeing my first Achilles injury was Kobe Bryant, and you don't even gotta argue. He was never the same player again. Tough as nails, hit that free throw, and walked off the court. Didn't even need anyone to pick him up. Didn't need anything, right? And then it started getting normalized. I see Kevin Durant in the finals getting hurt. And I just wanted to start looking away, seeing these players just hurt and suffering. And it made me think, what Aaron Gordon said. Hey, maybe we just need couple days of rest before the next playoff game. And maybe cutting these games down, giving them more extra time to rest. Maybe that may be the case, maybe not. That's what I think. The shoe point was also a big deal, Joe. What Coach is talking about. But yeah, man, that's what I got.
Yeah, the shoe point. I think that's a lot. That's a big part of it. I'm glad Tuna asked that, because I almost forgot about it. But because they mentioned that in the article as well, and how a lot of these shoes nowadays, they're higher platform. There's not good stability on them.
So many shoes and options too.
Yeah, exactly. So many options. They're just built quirky too. They're like chunky, clunky shoes that your feet slides around in. There's not a lot of good stability in the shoe. And I think if you don't have stability and balance in the shoe, I think you're more at risk for putting more strain on the tendons and stuff, because you're exerting more. You have to try to keep that, especially when your foot's constantly moving in an incorrect motion. That's why Coach said a lot of it. One thing a lot of guys I think need to get back to. We talk about stretching and all that, but balance work. any type of movement running in like sand or any unlevel surfaces, those kind of workouts done properly. I think balance work is really key as well.
All right.
Because everything nowadays is just lift weights, and get on the court and shoot. That's all it is. And there's not a lot of prep work being done like he mentioned.
Well, you remember also beginning of Steph Curry's career, he was getting in a lot of injuries too when he
A
first
lot of
started.
ankles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can see the
it's
involvement of his shoe work. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then here, the other thing you never used to see years ago was you didn't see ACLs, MCLs. You didn't see, I think that's just overusage, but you didn't see that back in the day. You didn't see that in the 80s, 90s. Hell, really not even in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know if it's just, these guys, these players now when they were young. I mean, they're playing AAU. They're playing 5 different teams at one time.
Right.
I don't know if it's just the body breaking down sooner, just the wear and tear. I mean, hell, Joseph played with a kid in football that, and I coached him that, this kid, when he was 11 years old, was running a 4.5 40. He could throw a football 70 yards. He was throwing a baseball 80 plus miles an hour, running 100 meters, almost 11 seconds. I mean, he's just extraordinary talent. And, had he not broken down and probably had a couple other factors in his life, he'd be in the NFL right now or playing MLB baseball, without a doubt. He was just that talented and that competitive. But, he was, even when we met him, the kid was 11 years old, he was already, even at that age, traveling all over the country, going to Peyton Manning's camps, just constantly going. He's playing football, he's running track, he's playing baseball, and it was all year round, just nonstop. And by the time he was 13 years old, meniscus, and then a meniscus again, and basically, when he got into high school, it was over.
Yeah, you don't come back from that. Yeah.
He just his body, he had been ran so hard at a young age. His growth was stunned. He stopped growing. But his body just started to break apart. And it bothers me as a parent and a coach, because I hate seeing kids not being able to be kids. You got these idiot parents, you got these idiot coaches, especially these AAU coaches, that they don't, it's all, we got to win. You got to win. Yeah, I want to win.
All right.
But here at the end of the day, they got to be kids. You got to let them have fun. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. And if this shit's not, you should never run a kid like that. They want to play football, and then play some basketball in the winter, and then play baseball in the spring. I'm all for that. 3 sports. I mean, Joseph did that. You know what I mean? But there was a time where it lapped. Football, we played all in December, so he's practicing basketball till 6 p.m., putting his pads on, going to football. We're practicing at night, and then he's up till freaking midnight doing his homework.
Yeah.
With his head laying on the table. You know what I mean? It's just stupid. It was dumb. So, and not just the physical breakdown of these guys, but you also probably have the mental breakdown too. So I think it just starts at a young age now. These athletes, their runs, I mean, my gosh, they're doing so much more than guys back in the day used to do.
Yeah.
So, and that's what you're seeing the bodies break down.
And I think guys back in the day, they played a lot of pickup games. They used to play a lot. You hear guys tell stories all the time. How much games they played in the park growing up, right? And they always wanted to play basketball. But those guys, I think the difference though is, like, you talk about AAU jersey. Who practices?
Well, you just took the words right out of my mouth, because
you don't practice, and if you don't practice, you're not practicing on correct movements with the ball. You just got kids out there with whoever's the most talented, he's gonna be the one most athletic. We're just gonna feed him the ball, but they're not actually like I mean, you have a kid that maybe is a good shooter. He can go out there and shoot, have a good game every now and then, maybe 19, or 15, 20 points. But yeah, that's not consistent enough once you get to each level. You're not, you don't practice. Your body's not prepared and trained properly and prepped, like Coach was saying, to play all these games that you're going to play.
You just took the words right out of my mouth, because I think that's got to be the difference, because decades ago guys practice hard. They practice hard. You know what I mean? Today they don't practice. And so I don't care what kind of conditioning they do, and they're in a weight room and they got all these different trainers. You ever notice the injuries don't happen in practice, they happen during games.
Yeah.
Because it's like Joseph just said, the real conditioning is practice, because you're getting in-game movements. You know what I mean? And so these guys just don't practice anymore. They think they're good doing, load management. I'm going to eliminate my practice. I'm going to get in the weight room. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to condition my body to the game, real live game, like hard practices like Chicago Bulls used to do. I mean, they practice harder. They practice harder than the games. And so that's probably it. Is nobody practices anymore. They just do walkthroughs. I mean, in every sport, they don't do it. And
Shoot arounds.
And the
Yeah,
Cavs,
it's the shoot arounds.
the Cavs didn't practice for 2 months,
Right.
Right.
and then come
Right.
postseason, everybody's hurt.
So no wonder when you get in a game and all of a sudden you're putting these strains on your body at that.
Well, you know what the key is too with the Cavs, not to cut you off, but they didn't practice for 2 months, and then they get in the postseason where it's a lot more physical, more contact,
100% more physical.
more contact, and they got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be practice. I mean,
yeah, it's like Coach is saying, you should have proper prep work leading up to the training camp and season, right?
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Yeah, proper biomechanics, movements, like Coach was saying, stretching, flexibility, balance, preparing the body, and getting proper movements and stuff. And then you can get in the weights. Obviously, he was saying slowly increase that, put a ball in your hand, work all the ligaments and stuff and all properly. So then when you put a ball in your hand and you start practicing your moves, and you do that, practice, now your body's conditioned to handle all this. It's used to it. I mean, it's strong enough. These guys, you don't practice or do prep work. You throw them out there, especially for 2 months of a break that they took, and you get more contact, more physicality, you're going to get hurt.
yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, first year at the Jets, you think he was practicing? I guarantee he wasn't practicing. You know what I mean?
Probably not. He was doing ayahuasca.
Yeah, he's just back, drop back, throwing some balls.
Right.
You know what I mean? These guys, Deshaun Watson, he probably wasn't really practicing. So
I don't think anybody that team's practicing besides Miles Garrett.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's right on the head, and that it's probably that more than it's the lack of preparation. I think the other thing you said, or what Coach said, balance work. One thing, LeBron, I've watched many videos watching him work on balance, but balance work and then no practice. So all of a sudden you go in game, you go live, and you're going at that speed and at that intensity, body starts to break.
Yeah. Last one I got for you guys before we close it up, because I know there was first round still going on, but we really just want to hit on the first 5-10 picks today. That's really the meat and potatoes, obviously, that's everybody knows. And we'll wait for the Cavs tomorrow night. I don't think, unless they somehow trade back in here, which if they do, we'll be live reacting to it. But on the Cavs real quick, and Mike, I'll go to you first on this. I'm going to play this clip real quick. This is from Brian Windhorst today. Toons should be back in here in a minute. Toons, you're watching. If you want to come back in and react to this, if you're able to. And then we'll get up out of here. So here is Brian Windhorst today. Let me get the stuff up here on the Cavs and what their plans are this offseason.
All right, Wendy, as we approach next week in the second apron, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, do we expect either to be moved?
Maybe. No, maybe. I think the Cavs are going to try to make an aggressive offer to keep Ty Jerome. And depending on how those talks go, the Cavs' willingness to offload money could present itself. They're having conversations about moving money. Like, that's just the reality of it. And so it's not because Dan Gilbert doesn't want to spend. It's not because they don't like the players. It's not because, they're trying to trade for a superstar. It's because when you're a second apron team, you've got to manage your finances at every turn. So let's put it this way. They're not going to be trading any star players to save apron space like the Celtics have had to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be in a better position to manage it. And at the other end of it, they're going to have a team that has a very strong chance to win the East, which is what you're looking for.
Overall, Wendy, just as we kind of turn our attention here, how would you describe the level of interest this year in the offseason and all the moves these teams are going to be making across the league compared to other years?
Well, the thing about it is it's not really a free agency year. There's only a couple of impact free agents. Kyrie Irving signed an extension. I don't think he was ever going to hit the market, but we'll see. There's some guys who have some option decisions by the end of this weekend. James Harden and stuff, but it's not going to be like free agency is not the thing. The thing is trades. The trades are going to define this summer. And because a lot of trades are involving draft picks, I think we've already had 4 or 5 first-round picks traded in the last week. The Brooklyn Nets now have 5 first-round picks. I don't know. We get to tonight, I don't know where they're going to be. The biggest action really is probably going to be this week, whereas in most years, the biggest action is June 30th through about July 3rd. You often, everybody goes on July 4th holiday, but those 4 days typically is where you see 85 to 90% of the NBA offseason all plays out that fast. Not happening. The NBA offseason is playing out now. So by the time we get to June 30th, the NBA offseason may be largely over. The only asterisk there is Giannis, because no one's really sure what Giannis is going to 100% do. Right now, he's not asking for a trade. But the Cavs' work is probably going to get done, in the very short term here. The one of the interesting free agents though is Ty.
Yeah.
So that'll be something that plays out next week. But so it's a little bit next year, by the way, there's going to probably be 15 or so teams that have cap space. This year there's like 3. So next year I think we'll return to a more conventional year. There'll be players who make decisions that set themselves up to be free agents next summer because there's all that cap space coming.
Yeah.
So next year will be quote unquote normal, but this year the time frame of everything is a little bit different. So you just keep that in mind as you go through the next few.
All right, so that was Brian Windhorst on the Cavs, what he sees them doing. He also said before that too that don't be surprised you hear their names mentioned in more bigger trades. Obviously, they offered Darius Garland for Kevin Durant, which came out. So they are trying to be a little bit aggressive, at least by the reports. But Mike, what do you think the Cavs should do here? I mean, the only way you're really improving dramatically, like he said, is by trade.
Yeah.
The only big pieces you have to trade really is you're keeping obviously Mitchell and Mobley. So Darius Garland, although his market with the toe injury now, it's probably only going to be for a player like a KD, but even that didn't happen. So plus KD was never coming here. He was always going to Houston. But I look at a guy like Jared Allen, Mike, that maybe that's really their only big asset to move to really dramatically improve this roster to where they need to be.
Yeah, I mean, here, I think from what Wendy was saying and, what the Cavs have already tried to do, moving a Darius Garland, a Jared Allen, and a Isaac and Dean isn't out of the question. And I think it would be in the Cavs' best interest to try and do that just to land. But it's got to be for somebody like you said, like a Kevin Durant, the Denver Nuggets GM mentioned a Nikola Jokic trade without even being asked about it, which would be insane. I don't think he's actually on the move, but there are a bunch of superstars who could possibly on the move. Jaylen Brown's name has been thrown out there. Obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo. So yeah, I mean, where I could see this going for the Cavs is I think Ty Jerome has starting point guard capability. He's not as good as Darius Garland, but if he needed to be your starting point guard, I think you can do far worse. and if in exchange for that you get a forward that can really just dominate and push the ball, and free up Mobley, who you could move to the 5 if you get rid of Jared Allen as well. I could see that working out for the Cavs, especially in here. Nobody wishes injury, but next year, you don't have Tyrese Halliburton on the Pacers. He's probably going to be out. You already know you're not going to have Jason Tatum. He's probably out the whole season on the Celtics, and the Celtics are already offloading their money. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. So the East is wide open, and the Cavs are set up to win it, and I think they know that too, or they wouldn't have called on KD. So, yeah, it's gonna, like Wendy was saying, we gotta see how the money works out, how the money shakes out. There might be some, just cash saving trades, but here's hoping that they go all in, because if there is a year to do it, I think it's this year. The East is set up for it. The Cavs are set up for it. Let's just hope the contracts and set up for it too. But those are my thoughts.
Humble, what do you think? What do you think the Cavs should do here?
Well, so I was gonna say, yeah, with Jared Allen. Do we win with Jared Allen? Do I like Jared Allen? I like Jared Allen. He's a good guy, but do I think we can win with him? No. You seen in the playoffs, it wasn't that he wasn't healthy. Obviously, he was healthy, but you seen what he produced, and it wasn't much. What are we gonna get from him? I don't know. I know you said drafting a center. I think we could get something the same out of a draft pick, the same way production as Jared Allen's getting in a draft pick, and that's saying a lot in my opinion. I mean, I say, well, I like team chemistry. I want to keep these guys together. Like Mike said, this is the biggest year for us to make that leap, go to the finals. Can our guys stay healthy? I think we paid DG a lot of money. That's where we screwed ourselves. And yeah, man. We'll see what happens. That's what I got.
Yeah, I agree with what you said too. I mean, I like the kid Amari Williams in this draft out of Kentucky, who still hasn't got picked yet. I think he'll be there for us tomorrow night if we move up a little bit. I think he's a guy that could be like Derek Lively, who the Mavericks took last year and turned out pretty well for him. Just played the role and was pretty productive as a rookie. And I think you could find that in the draft if you just find the right piece. I think he's the right piece. I think he fits in our system well with his game. And or even if you trade Jared Allen, bring in a Trey Murphy, let's say, or even a Herb Jones and another player, that still makes your team better. Because I think this team's philosophy has to be, we have a smaller backcourt. We can score a lot of points better, just as well as anybody in the league. We got to be able to get stops. And if we're going to switch a lot, we got to have guys out there we can switch on the guards and other players, which we did not have in the postseason. Our depth-wise, we didn't have it. And around the backcourt, outside of Mobley and Hunter, we didn't have it. So, Cavs right now, too, also the favorites so far to come out of the East next year. So Vegas likes the Cavs right now. Jersey, what do you think about all this?
I'm still away with Allen. I mean, move on from him. I mean, he showed it in the playoffs. I'd rather have a guy that's more physical underneath, just a more physical big. So I would certainly move on from him. I'd rather have a bigger point guard. I don't, Mike. I don't know if Ty Jerome's the guy. He's a nice little player, but I don't know if he's the guy you want at that your starting point guard. But and the other thing is, what the hell is they doing with Imani Bates? That's what I want to know. Like,
that's what everybody wants to know.
What are they doing with this guy
every day?
I mean, this guy. Did this guy just fall off did he just quit playing basketball? Did he? I mean, what are they doing with this guy? Because the guy I saw him draft was just like, we're like, damn, I can't believe we got Imani Bates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jersey,
what is it?
I got something. You didn't see this because it goes along with what you're saying. Hold on, give me 1 second. We saw this over at Tune In Sports. Shaq brought this up on his show. about Amani Bates, and I'll play this for you real quick as it goes along what you're saying. You haven't seen it yet. Here's what Shaq had to say about all this.
The segment, I'm Adam and Shane. I want to call it "What the F are you doing?"
Who are you talking about now?
I'm gonna go first. You ready?
Yeah.
To the Cleveland Cavaliers general manager, what the F are you doing? Why is Amani Bates in the G League? What the F is going on? This motherfucker can play. The last game you put him in, he had what, 7 threes? Don't you think you need that for a championship? Whoever you are, general manager for Cleveland, what the F are you doing?
And that was What the F Are You Doing? Brought to you by...
That motherfucking play, man. Score. If I'm a coach, I want all the scorers I can. That motherfucking play. Like, he's been in the G League, what, 2 years? I want to start a new segment.
What do you think of that, Jersey?
I gotta hear that.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck are they doing with this guy? I mean, you don't hear anything about him. I mean, you got one of the greatest players in history to sit there saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" I mean, what the fuck? I mean, really? If I get in front of Kobe Altman, I'd say, "What the fuck are you doing?"
And why is Tristan Towel waving a towel?
Yeah, we got that. We got that polished. Well, we got that bum ass bastard on our, just sitting there, just breathing the air in the arena, and we got Amani Bates playing down in the G League. I mean, Humble. Let me ask you this. I said this before you got on. Do you think a 7-year-old Cooper Flagg would beat Tristan Thompson's bum ass in a game of 1-on-1?
Tristan Thompson now.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is the guy that we got on our bench that's gonna take us to the finals.
Oh, I know it.
This is the guy, Tristan Thompson. This is who they believe in. You know what I mean? And we got this freak of an athlete, basketball player, just sitting down in the G League. So I don't get that part, man. We can talk about trades and all this other bullshit, but you know, it's crazy how this guy's just falling out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Parent John. Good to see you. Said Cooper would whoop Tristan Thompson at the age of 4. Kobe is not doing crap. Let's face it.
I mean, Tristan. Oh, gosh, Tristan. That's another thing they should say. But Shaq should have been saying that too. What the fuck are you doing with Tristan Thompson? Even being in the arena.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they got him there to do the laundry. I mean, get this guy the hell out of here.
Doing the laundry.
I mean, I'm serious. Like, what is this guy doing there?
What do you think, Mike? Is he doing the laundry?
Mike's not even listening.
No, Tristan Thompson is not doing the laundry.
What is he doing? Can you explain to me?
He's just like, who's that one? Adonis Haslam, who just sat on the bench.
Are you out of your mind?
No, he's not.
You don't ever compare him to UD.
Yeah,
dude.
I wouldn't do that, Mike.
Oh my gosh!
No, I'm just saying, Udonis Haslam hasn't played real minutes for a hot minute, but he sat on the Heat bench for a couple of years. It's just like it's the same thing.
Yeah, but Udonis Haslam could sit on the bench and still be the leader of the team. I mean, that dude was the Heat. You know what I mean? Like dudes like UD was the guy.
He's an extension of the coach.
You had to go through him to be Heat culture.
Yeah, because of the way he played basketball when he was young enough to play. I mean, Haslam was I mean, you talk about leading, just leading by the way you're playing the game. That's what he did, and he was also, you know, you listen to him in interviews, you know, he's a great guy in the locker room. So Tristan Thompson's not even in the. I mean, he's not in the same breath as Udonis Haslam. Tristan Thompson's just, I mean, just an absolute waste. I mean, they might as well put me on the team. I mean, they should.
Yeah, he'll at least be coaching, not waving the towel.
5'9", oh, you know, out of shape. I'm telling you. Right.
Manages a car dealership.
Right. This bum ass son of a bitch.
Mike, what
Coattail
would you do,
riding.
Mike, if you saw Jersey out there on the bench?
That'd be hilarious. I'd be down for it though.
I'll be
What do you-
coaching though. You know that, Mike. I'll be talking. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Mike, what do you think about Amani Bates?
I mean, I was excited when we drafted him, but I mean, we just haven't seen a lot out of him. But I think he can help the team, and maybe if we move like huh?
No, I think we got an echo. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think if we move Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade or what have you, there's going to be some movement on the Cavs that does open up a spot for Amani Bates and Jalen Tyson for that matter.
Yeah. Jersey, what would you do if you were Kobe Altman this offseason? I mean, are you trying to unload to the core four in terms of Allen and Garland, no matter what, just to trying to get more defensive players and more wings on this team?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm being aggressive because this is their window with Tatum down, Halliburton down, where their team is sitting right now as far as their contracts. They got these guys going into their prime. I mean, this is their window, and seems like you got your coach now. You just need, man, you just got to you got to be aggressive and try to, I mean, and they were, like Mike said, they were showing it to try to get Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, if they said I can only get rid of one of them, I think I'd get rid of Jared Allen, obviously, just because he's just, I don't know, he's kind of one dimensional, I feel like, and he was just soft in the playoffs. I mean, Garland, I think, is soft, undersized, but I think if I had the right guys around him and maybe brought in some leadership, maybe put an enforcer down under the hoop to play his physical, to start, clotheslining people if need be. I mean, that changes everything. You know what I mean?
I know,
That's,
but it's not the 80s, though. We can't have flagrants.
I know. I'm being facetious, but what I'm saying is hard fouls. So kind of like what killed the Cavs in game 1 of that series. They got punched in the fucking face and they didn't know how to respond. They looked like a bunch of sissies out there. And that series was over after that game. Indiana knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, all them hard fouls, and those guys didn't do anything. They didn't even foul them back. And I want that guy underneath the basket. That's what he does. You know what I mean? And so I'd rather have that than I live. I mean, because Garland's a great player. It's just he's just undersized, but I still think they could win. If let's just say hypothetically they could bring in the big marquee player and then put a different player underneath the hoop. Brought in Amani Bates. Yeah, I mean, you can still win with Garland. So, yeah, I'd rather get rid of Allen. Obviously, I think anybody would agree to that. But yeah, I mean, the Windows, they have to do it. So they got to try it. I don't know if, I mean, Windhorse is, I don't know if, I mean, I get it. You're not a major market team, so you got to wash your money. But I don't know if it's, he just played it off like the Cavs are just going to sit idle. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to be smart with their money. They're not going to go crazy and end up like the Celtics, but I think they're going to, try to stay within reason and be aggressive at the same time.
If they do stay idle, though, how do you feel about that team next year?
They're not winning. They're not winning anything. As the way they're sitting right now, they're still not winning. They just I mean, they won a series. They beat the Heat. They beat a lousy ass Heat team.
A team that shouldn't have been in the playoffs.
Yeah, and wasn't even competitive in the Indiana series. They didn't even look like they belonged on a court with Indiana. I mean, they didn't really. I mean, got all that talent, but they just they just, I mean, they weren't playing playoff basketball. They were playing like they're still in a regular season. So they got to get somebody, and there's just no leadership on the team either. There's no veteran that's going to get out there and lead. And I felt like that was the biggest thing they were missing. They just don't know what the hell to do. And so, yeah, they still wouldn't win. With the East sitting the way it is, they still would not win the East the way they're constructed right now.
Yeah, I agree. Parent John said, we'll go around the horn here. Would you guys trade Mobley for Jaylen Brown?
Never, not a chance in hell.
No.
Hubble?
Yeah, I don't think that's the question. Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, he said, no way if I'm the Celtics, I would want injury-prone Darius Garland. That's why I say Evan.
No, you keep Mobley. I mean, Mobley's not even anywhere near his peak yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't even finished a project with him. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he just won Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, how better can he get?
Right, and you just got to get him more touches.
Right.
Yeah, he
100%.
said Kobe would stand pat because of the injuries. If so, his ass will be gone. Damn, not playing around. Yeah, I don't think Kobe Altman can afford to really stay idle. I think Dan Gilbert, as much as he probably likes Kobe, he's helped him around the longest, and Kobe has done a great job. But when you have a window like that open, Dan Gilbert's usually aggressive. It's time to go get it.
Yeah, he is. And they're going on 10 years. Next year will be 10 years. So I agree with you on that. Dan Gilbert's always shown that. And they'll be aggressive. And that's what I love about Dan Gilbert.
He said, Mike, I want to see what you think about this. Jersey, I know you definitely got to take on this and humble. Bates definitely could help out the team instead of these bums on the bench like Dean Wade.
Well, you get here, Fair John. I agree with you, but other than the last part of that sentence, Dean Wade is not the issue. Lousy ass, lazy ass, loser ass Tristan Thompson is just the freaking anchor. I mean, just holding his team from doing anything. I mean, breathing air in the arena. He probably stinks. He probably. I mean, this dude. He just
annoys you.
He just annoys me. Because, you know what it is? Because I think you know why he annoys me? Because he stands up and he acts like he's got 6 championships. He's a Hall of Famer. He's an all defensive player. He walks around like he's like he should just be known by his first name, Tristan. You know what I mean? You know, he only gets certain guys that go by their first name. You got to be a marquee player to go by. You know, you got Magic, you got Larry, you got Michael, you got LeBron, you got Kobe, you got, he. I think he really thinks he's that guy, and so that's why I just go in on him, because he's the furthest thing from it. He is an extortionist, and he has just robbed the league of money, and he should be ashamed of himself for the production that he's given after with that contract he received, and just out there smiling and just acting like he's a Hall of Famer. So yeah. Obviously, I don't know the guy personally, but as a player and the way he acts out there, yeah, that's why I go in on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said Dean Wade was like he should be on a tractor too instead of.
Well, yeah. He just, I mean, yeah.
But that's my whole point. If Dean Wade's part of a big rotation, Mike, in Jersey and home, I just don't. Dean Wade's a nice player, gives you rebounds, big 6'9", could shoot the 3 well for his size, but that's not a guy I want to count on in a playoff series. Because when he was switching out of Halliburton, Mike, he was getting cooked and humble. I mean,
oh my God, yeah,
he was.
Yeah,
Dean Wade is like modern day Craig Elo. You know what I mean? He's just This guy, he shouldn't be getting all these minutes. You know what I mean? He gets, put him in. He just should not get that amount of playing time, and that says something about the Cavs. So, yeah, you shouldn't be relying on, just Big Dean Wade out there to just, Dean Wade is carrying us all the way through. We're going to win the East, and I don't care who the West brings. We're putting Big Dean Wade on their player.
He said Dean Wade shoots so many bricks he could build his farmhouse with those.
Right.
Just hoist, as our buddy Dan. Hoist. Hoist. If you're
Just-
going to hoist, at least get guys that can defend and shoot threes more consistently.
That was the other thing they got to stop doing is stop hoisting so much. My gosh, just play half court back. Just play inside out. My God, at least just throw it down in the post. At least just give me 10 times a game.
Mobley's still waiting on the block for the ball.
Yeah, I mean, hey, let's put up 43s, and if and it's 50-50 because if we're making them, we're going to win. If we're missing, we're guaranteed to lose. I mean, it's just stupid. Let's just keep taking all these low percentage shots. I've never understood it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just think that's soft basketball too.
Mike and Humble, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you said it pretty on point. I mean, Dean Wayne's not a terrible player. There was a lot said about Tristan Thompson I won't comment on, but it was sure fun to listen to.
He said, "My God, that's what OKC did in the finals. They just kept chucking up threes. It was so annoying to watch." And it's funny, Parent Trap, their MVP was Shai Gilgeous, who won the finals MVP. He only shot like 7 threes for the whole series. All his shots were twos, mid-rangers, pull-ups, step back. Like the dude's and he was the MVP of the series, but he only shot like 7 threes for the whole series jersey in a 7-game series.
And look, they won. They're the best player on the court shooting mid-range jumpers, not just firing up threes nonstop. So I'd love to know what his field goal percentage was for the series. Because it's not hard. I mean, it's what Michael Jordan did. It's what Kobe did. I mean, it's why shoot low percentage shots? You know what I mean? And if you're a really good player, if you're more skilled, more athletic than everybody else, doesn't a mid-range jumper you're going to hit it every time. You're going to jump higher on these guys. You're going to hang in the air longer than these guys. I mean, it just makes total sense.
Yeah. And his size and frame, I mean, he's 6'6". I think that's where the league's evolving in point guards, 6'6". Cade Cunningham, 6'6". Now Shea just won a championship, 6'6". And, I mean, it's some remarkable to see.
Yeah. Playing it the right way. I mean, if they want to get their ratings up, just go back to playing inside out.
Right, basketball.
Yeah. That's what people want to see.
He didn't shoot the ball great percentage-wise. He only shot 44% from the series, but there were some games, though, he had 52%, 50%, 46%. And in those games, he only shot the max threes he shot in a game was 6. But other than that, he was only four attempts per game from 3. He only shot 12 threes for the series, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many you think Donovan Mitchell would have shot?
45.
All
right. So the guy that's getting the most touches is just hanging low percentage shots.
Or no, excuse me, not attempts. He averaged 4 attempts a game. He only made 2, 3, 4, 5. He only made 8 threes for the whole series. That's what I meant. He only made 8 threes. But he shot a shitload of twos, though. 30 attempts, or 30 field goal attempts, 21, 20, 24, 21, 15, 27. There's a video somebody put on Instagram where I saw this, and it showed all his shots that he made. That's what I meant to say. It was all the shots he made in the series.
Yeah.
And all out of all the shots he made, only 7 were from 3, and all the rest, all the points he scored, and he had some big nights. Only 38 points, 34 points, 24, 20, 35, 31, 21, 29. A lot of those points were all mid-range and in the paint.
Yeah. Well, here, and good for him that he didn't, he's missing his threes. He stopped doing it. You know what I mean? He why keep, I just don't, I don't understand it. I just think it's like, I'm going to go back to what I said. Soft teams, that's how they play. The teams that are soft, that's how they play. Because going in the lane you might get a hard foul, or it's physical basketball playing inside out. Soft teams just like to hang up threes.
And he shot 91% from the free throw line.
That's the other thing. It's great too. Good for that dude, man.
Yeah, that was the whole point I was trying. I got misspoken, mispronounced my point. But when the 3 wasn't going, he kept attacking inside, and his team won the series, and he ended up winning Finals MVP. He played more smart. He didn't try to keep forcing up the threes like we see a lot of guys do. He said Ace Bailey didn't even want Utah to draft him. So this guy skipped the word Jersey. I know this Ace Bailey guy was a top 3 prospect in the draft. Very talented guy at Rutgers, big, long, kind of like a Brandon Ingram looking guy. Philly wanted to take him at 3 because Ron Harper's son went 2, then Cooper Flagg went 1. But he didn't want to work out for Philly, if I'm not mistaken. Or he skipped the workout. He didn't want to work out for. I think he didn't skip. He didn't want to work out. He was trying to make. He was operating as if he was a star player already in the league, and it turned a lot of teams off. And Philly passed on him. The 14 passed on him. Utah took him at 5, but now Humble said it sounds like he didn't even want to go to Utah.
No, Toon.
Or not? Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, Joe. I got you.
He said, yeah, appreciate it. He said, Toon said he's already reading that Ace didn't even want to go to Utah. And then Parent John said Ace already acting like he did something in the league. He about to get humbled real quick. What do you think of this Ace Bailey guy already? Jersey.
Well, I would say, how about the NBA have a sack and do what the NFL did with Shador? You know what I mean? Shador gets pushed. Here, it is what it ain't no secret. That's what they did. They made an example out of Shador. Those owners did, saying, "Here, dude, this is our league. We're going to show you." You know what I mean?
Yeah, he only wanted to go to the Pelicans or Nets, so he was making. This is where I want to go.
Yeah, they shouldn't have drafted his ass. What they should have all got together and said,
"Yeah,
guys are gonna act like that. We ain't drafting his ass." You know what I mean? But here, that's the difference between the NBA and the NFL. So, I wouldn't have. And shame on Utah for taking the guy.
It's an opportunity at the end of the day.
But you know what? Utah deserves it for what they did to us with Carlos Boozer. You guys remember that bullshit, man? Got in front of Gordon Gunn, man. Let him out of his contract and went to re-sign, and then did that to Gordon Gunn. And you know what I mean? Utah was behind it the whole time. So I hope this blows up in their face.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think about Ace Bailey already?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the number 1 overall prospect in the draft. Ace Bailey's a good prospect, don't get me wrong, but this isn't like the Eli Manning situation, you know what I mean? He wasn't even the number 1 or the number 2 highest sought after prospect, and to get picky like that, I think he's gonna get humbled, kind of like what Paramjot said. I just don't see it working out the way he thinks it's gonna work out. Now, I think he's a great talent, but I mean, a NBA career can fizzle pretty quickly if you don't get your shit together. So,
yeah, his agent is Omar Cooper, who is the father of Sharif Cooper, who's in the NBA. Says some people believe his agent was trying to steer him towards East Coast teams, particularly the Brooklyn Nets. So he just wanted to be in New York, it sounds like. because he went to Rutgers and blah blah blah. So he just wanted to force his way where he wanted to go. But I mean, if the number one pick in the draft, who is a phenom, didn't do that, I don't know why you're trying to do that. What do you think about this, Humble?
I think that's you know, I think it's an opportunity at the end of the day. I mean, I think these college guys are. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do I know football players get paid in college? Do basketball players get paid in college?
Yeah, there's that
I,
IL.
I think they should take that away. People can have their opinions on that, but I mean, they feel privileged in a way to get drafted to these teams and prove other teams wrong. Like, hey, you should have drafted me in a way. You know what I mean? Um, that's just my view on it. Yeah,
You know what? I think a lot of that goes back to. I'm gonna go back to what I was bitching about earlier. AAU and guys bouncing around in high school, going from school to school. You know what I mean? Just always being put on a pedestal. Always got to feel like they're wanted, and they just can't be happy and content with you made it to you're getting drafted.
yeah,
I mean, you're a pro basketball player. Not just that, man. You're a top 5 pick. You're getting paid.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, you just got generational wealth coming with endorsements and all that shit. And if you do it right, you're going to get even a larger contract. But these guys, I just think it starts at a young age. They just, just ungrateful, no gratitude. And man, it just, I didn't even agree with Eli Manning doing that. I remember watching that live, and I was kind of like stunned. I'd never seen that. Like, Chargers draft him and says, well, I don't want to be here. I want to go to New York. I didn't agree with that. Not worked out for him, but I still didn't. I just don't agree with that shit, man. It's, I mean, you hit the lottery. You're a pro athlete, and you're going to sit and bitch about where you're going. I mean, it's mind boggling. I mean, look at Tom Brady. Who the hell would have wanted to go to New England?
Yeah, right.
I mean, they
Not
were
for
the
football.
absolute drizzling shits other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day. I mean, they were terrible. They did get to the Super Bowl against the Bears. I get it. But, I mean, who wanted to go there? You think, I guarantee you Tom Brady when he goes from California. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But look, you know what I mean? So it's shameful to see. I
Adapted
mean,
to the cold weather too. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I didn't even think of
Let
California.
me go all the way to the East Coast to Boston, which I like Boston. It's a great city.
Yeah.
To the New England Patriots.
Well, did Patrick Mahomes want to go to Kansas City of all places? A nice
Sure.
city, but you know, what I mean, do you think he wanted to go
Right.
there?
Probably not. Probably not. But look, you know
Best
what I mean?
fit, best coaching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's attitude, and I think it's what's taught, and it starts at a young age, how you're raised and what you're taught, and are you taught to stick with something and work through adversity, and you don't and be patient first and foremost, patience, and most of these guys just don't have it anymore, and it's terrible. So shame on that dude. Shame on that guy. Shame on Utah. Shame on the NBA. They shouldn't have drafted him.
Well, Humble, you got anything for get out of here, brother?
Yeah. And this could be a whole different discussion for another day. I know we keep saying the East is wide open, and I'm just gonna keep saying this all year because I don't know. I think that we still have to get past New York. It's kind of like a couple years back, you know how we couldn't get past New York, the Knicks. I think it's gonna be a similar to this year. We got to get past them and take it conference at a time because it's like yeah, we're good, but how good can we get? And it's like New York wants it bad too. That fan base is, I mean, you saw a couple of Hall of Famers coming out to the games, and you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, they're hungry.
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. And Karl Anthony Towns looked phenomenal for them this year. That was only year one. I couldn't imagine year two. You know what I mean? So I think we got to keep our eyes out for the Knicks. And
And they don't
yeah,
have to
man.
worry about the apron. They could just add a player too.
Right.
So, not a significant player, but still something to add to their depth. So, Humble, you want to plug our boy Tune In Sports real quick too?
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy Tune In Sports, man. He really always keeps us engaged in news contents and keeps us going. My guy Joe over here keeps us just he's a good guy, man. Just follow his content, man. And Tune In Sports.
Shout out to Tune In Sports. Great job tonight too. Appreciate you, brother. Humble, I appreciate your time, brother. I'm sure I'll see you. Maybe Tunes live tomorrow, whatever he does the next one. So,
yes, sir.
I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Have a good night,
Appreciate
man.
you guys.
Later, brother.
You guys want to tell them we need to like, subscribe, and share?
Hey,
Do it,
folks,
Mike.
thank you so much for joining us this evening on this episode of The Real Following the NBA Draft. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this content because this isn't the only show that we all do. And we have content for pretty much every yin to every yang, all that good stuff. We're up and coming. That's why the show is called The Real, because it is real people, real content, real coverage. So please like, subscribe, and share this content. It would mean a ton to us. And once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will be live streaming a tattoo I am getting in honor of the Browns drafting Shedeur Sanders and to honor a bet. So if you want to see that, like, subscribe, and share. It'll be a fun time.
Go ahead, Jersey.
Hey, just what I always say. You want to listen to these guys, all these these pundits you always see on TV shows and stuff that are controlled by the teams. You know, who wants to listen to that? I mean, you come on this show, you come on Tune-Ins. I mean, it's just raw. Anybody can come on. Anybody can give their opinion. We encourage people to get on here and give their opinions. I mean, hell, we had a guy on here a couple weeks ago that all he wanted to talk about was why Michael Jordan's fans are the worst people in the world. I mean, it was kind of out of right field, but we were on with this guy for 2-3 hours. So, I mean, we'll take anybody up here. So, isn't that what everybody wants? Everybody just wants their voice to be heard, and you know, and it's straight out. It's passion. You know, nobody's getting paid on it, at least at this point, and so, you know, hopefully everyone finds it entertaining. And like, subscribe, share. You know, if you really knew the whole story behind all of this, I would tell you'll know the whole story. Just go back, just watch the first episode of the podcast, and you'll see how far all of your support has helped Joseph in this show go, and Mike's support too. So this guy's been doing it from the very beginning. I've been part of it. So, but yeah, just support. It's like buying local. You know, don't watch corporate. Watch local. This is local. You know what I mean? Organic, just raw. Anybody can be on here, and nobody's going to get shut down. Nobody's going to get controlled. So come on, next show. Come on. You know, ask for the link. Come on, and enjoy it, and then share it. Other than that, hope everybody has a great rest of the week.
That's right. Thank you, Humble. Thank you, too. Love you, too, brother. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, share all the good stuff. I'm out of here. Mike,
See you, Mike.
Mike, are you doing
I'm saluting. I'm doing a handstand right now. You can't see it. You'll never see it live, but I'm doing the handstand. I'm saluting.
Jersey's telling you quiet.